Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode. I am Michael Petrow, and joining me on the show is Ian Bawa and Charles Fernandes. We do things out of order this week, ladies and gentlemen. We start off the show with some hot information from Ian's world. He did TIFF this year, and he got to do a film lab with Edgar Wright. So you're going to get to listen to him talk about that right in front and center. We don't want to make you wait for that. We move into talking about the Library of Congress and new film editions, our reality television likes, what Mad Max vehicle we would be or own, and lots of other stuff. This one's going in the long way, the 2 hour plus way. So get a diaper if you don't want to go pee, or a drink or your favorite snack. This one's you're in for a long haul on this one. So that's who's on the show. That's what's on the show. Our housekeeping that I can update you on. The non-existent website is one step closer to being less non-existent. I think we're just going to make our own. That's enough I'm going to say about that, because I know how to make a board work and sound go into it. But, man, if you're from Winnipeg and you want to help a guy out, figure out how to make a website, even on like Squarespace, I know they say it's easy, but maybe that's my age showing. I don't know. You don't care about these problems. Point is, it's not there yet. The things I would like it if you cared about would be, we're all going to be at the Park Theater, December 19th. Doors open at 7 p.m. and on the screen is Die Hard, the best Christmas or non-Christmas movie, depending on your opinion. We'll be there podcasting from the lobby, and then we'll be interacting with you guys in some way, shape, or form. A little way, not a huge way, but we'll be there. We'll be present. You'll talk to us. And if you want to come over and express your opinion on such matters, you're more than welcome to do so. We'll be safe and sanitized, and all the COVID necessities will be taken into consideration if you'd like to talk to us. So that is that. And Martin's coming home for that. So for those of you, Tiffany, I'm talking to you. For those of you out there who missed Martin at Comic-Con because you thought he'd be there, he's coming home. He's going to be doing some stand-ups, so that'll be in the show notes as well, too. Follow us on TikTok and Instagram if you want to follow us. Instagram for all of our life updates, and TikTok for the dumb shit I and me and Jimmy and Ian and all of us are trying to do. It's a lot of fun being old and being TikTok-y. Just lost all the under-20s right there. So, that's for housekeeping, which leads me to the top 10. If you're still listening, ladies and gentlemen, to you specific first-timers, you newbies, you onesie-twosies, people who've tried us or have continued to try us, and you're like, where do I go from here? Well, if you want to support the show, just subscribe. That would be fantastic of you. That's the name of the game here in podcast world. So, subscription, it's free, it's easy. We'll show up each week with some dumb shit to say. And, hopefully we make you laugh. That is our number one goal here at The Real Debaters. But if you feel so inclined to spend money, if you want to donate to our cause, we're talking pocket change, or buy a t-shirt or a pair of tights or skateboard for somebody this Christmas, there is a prop shop full of merchandise and a donation tab. It's called Buy Us a Coffee. You can throw a buck at us. We'll do something for you. There's a list there of things you could get for that. Go check it out. Also, we like to celebrate the top 10 that listen to the show. These are places that are doing some heavy lifting for us. You're talking about us and our stupidity and our no nonsense. This is full of nonsense and our nonsense on the show. And that means something to us. So we're going to start. Number 10, New York. Number 9, Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. Hello, close American neighbor. Number 8, Edmonton, Alberta. Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. Coming in number 7, Brampton, Ontario. Kelowna, British Columbia. Calgary, Alberta. Brandon, Manitoba coming in number 3. Burnaby, British Columbia coming in number 2. And as always, Winnipeg, Manitoba, our favorite place where we live, where it's really fucking cold right now, coming in number 1. I have nothing else for you this week, so I will cue the reel. I will shut the fuck up. Yours truly is gone. Here's the rest of us. You enjoy the show.
Let's tidy up this tangle of film by putting it on a reel. Here is a motion picture film, 1,000 feet, 16,000 separate photographs.
Welcome, everyone, to the official space section of the chart.
What's the truth? You can't handle the truth.
Sir, you're out of order.
Out of order. I show you out of order.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Real Debaters production. I am Michael Petrow.
I'm Ian Bawa.
Oh my God, he's back in the building. And who are you?
I'm Charles Fernandes.
Haven't seen you for a while. Still love you. What's up, buddy?
Thank you so much, bro.
This is great because I've been mentioning this each time, and I'm like, okay, we've had Charles is done in studio. Martin's in Vancouver, so when Martin comes home in December, I'm gonna camp him in here. I think.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be like spend 8 hours in here
Yeah,
and make up for it because we won't see you again.
I'm pretty sure that's called confinement, but okay.
Sure. I mean, well, depending on if there's handcuffs involved.
Right.
We were talking about sodomy earlier.
Right.
Who knows? This week we're gonna skip our watch list and go right to a hot source of information. Ian has been gone for a while, but there's a reason for that. He's been working on his stuff, his film, as well as you were involved. You've been involved with TIFF the last week. What the fuck have you been doing?
I was part of the TIFF Filmmaker Lab, which was a pretty cool. I'm gonna use the word prestigious event to where like I got to be part of. I don't know. I think it was like over like an X amount, like 1,000 or so people submitted, and they only picked 20 filmmakers from around the world. So I was like, it was me, some people from Brazil, some people from Spain, from Europe, from Australia, from U.S., from Canada, and basically we came in with like a project and got to meet like fucking cool filmmakers, people playing at the festival, meet and greets. Like, it's all have to be digital, unfortunately. Usually it's in person, but it was still great. Like, it actually, because of it being digital, we got to meet more people and got to like
that increases the spread, I guess.
It does. It's easier for them to like commit like an hour and not have to sit in a room. They could do it from their hotel rooms in Toronto half the time. And and honestly, it's just easier. Like in a lot of ways.
I'm in sweats for a reason. Like I got lazy during the Well, I was lazy before the pandemic. But I understand creature comforts and doing things in a comfortable manner.
Yeah.
Why would you give that the fuck up? What did you? So like, what did this panel get to experience? Like, were you guys together all the time in a Zoom room, or did you get like one-on-ones with people?
We got like one-on-ones. We got little kind of like mini classes with the governors. So there was like the governors. There was like 4 people considered governors, and then like essentially like it was very casual. Like it wasn't like the moderators asking question. They kind of just introduced them. They're like, "Here, guys, shoot your shit with whoever." Yeah, like
awesome.
you know, it was one of the best labs I've ever done. But basically, like the week, it's been like a 5-day event. Usually, I think it's like less days when they do it in person. I have my list because it was just
no. We're old, dude. Notes work.
So first day we talked to Hani Abu Absad, which is like this Israeli filmmaker who made Paradise Now, which came out like 2015.
I've heard of it.
Very
I never
good.
saw it.
Yeah, and then so it was nominated for Best Foreign Film, and then he made Omar, which is also nominated for Best Foreign Film for the Oscars, and then his new one just came out, TIFF. I didn't actually watch it. He didn't give us a link either. They tried to give us all the films prior to it. That one he couldn't. There's all these like red tape, so sometimes they couldn't give us. So he was very cool. I'm just gonna like through this.
Please.
Put
your hard hat on, Charles. There's name drop
I'm
coming.
so excited.
And there's people like I'll give you like reference to like who they are because they're very cool. But like Miranda Harcourt, who she's an acting coach for like everyone, like every she's Nicole Kidman's like acting coach like all the time. She's worked on every Peter Jackson film, every Nicole Kidman film. She's worked with so many directors.
Holy
she's
shit!
She's super cool. We were actually just DMing like each other. She like before coming here. Her daughter is Thomason Mackenzie from Jojo Rabbit's, who's in Last Night in Solo.
That's you sent me that image of you
because she was in. She like came on like she's like, "Hey mom, here's your tea," and like we were like. She's like, "Oh, come on here," and so we got like a couple of one-on-one sessions / like, and she's
you got Zoom bombed by somebody by the daughter of.
It makes sense why that girl is so extremely talented.
It makes so
it's
much
insane.
sense. I know.
It's
That's
insane.
what I said. I was like, "Oh, this makes so much." In her mom's like not only just lovely, just like
what's mom's first name again? Sorry,
Miranda.
Harcourt. Miranda Harcourt.
Yes.
Wow.
Miranda Harcourt.
Harcourt. I apologize. But yeah, she's super cool, and like she's not.
What did you guys get to talk to? Like, what do you talk
honestly,
to?
She just started like She was showing like we had a couple of sessions with her, but she like just kind of like at first was showing like just some of the techniques she's done in the past. But she's very much a life coach. Like she's just really good at talking. Like and I get like she was just like someone you're just like it's just inspiring to hear. And like 'cause she's been in it for so long. Her husband, she's made movies. Her husband's a director. Her like her kids in this industry now, so she's like in the thick of it. She's worked with like not just like Nicole, like everyone, like Joseph Gordon-Levitt, like all these. She was just name dropping and like showing us movies and clips of her on set and stuff. So like she's great. So that was one of our governors. So we got a lot of like time with her. there was a guy from this marketing guy, which I really like, from Haywire Films or Hayfay. Yeah, I'm gonna butcher it. I'm not even gonna bother with that. We'll skip that one. Fuck it. Edgar Wright, which is the big name drop. Which,
Yeah, let's stop there for a second.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
You know what's crazy? When I applied for this
Baby Driver?
Baby Driver. Well, like when I applied for this workshop, I was like, they one of the questions were like, who's one of the filmmakers or 3 filmmakers you'd love to meet? And I said Edgar Wright was one of them. And I was like, oh my, like I forgot that I even wrote that in. And I was looking at my application yesterday. I was like, oh, I can't believe I wrote Edgar Wright, and I got to meet Edgar Wright.
That's awesome.
And Edgar Wright was a big inspiring person when I was in my final year of film, because I just watched Scott Pilgrim, and my final year of film is such a Scott Pilgrim film, and I'm like, now I got to meet him 10 years later. How crazy is that? And it was cool. We basically, he was in Toronto. We all we chatted with him. We all just poked him with so many questions. Like at one point I was like, dude, how do you know when something's funny when you're writing it? And he was just like, he's like, that's a good question. That's why I write with Simon all the time. Like he's like, I tried to write Baby Driver on my own, and it was brutal. Like I fucking died in a room, and it like don't think I'll ever do that again, because that was like torturous. But like that's why I keep writing with Simon or someone. And like even this Last Night Solo, he like wrote with this female writer, I can't remember her name. So he was like, she was great, and we kind of like figured out how to work together. And he's like, I'm a collaborator, I can't write. He was just like shooting life advice and just like dropping. I'll be honest too, I recorded that one, like the audio of that one for me, just because I was like, I want to hear it
For
later.
sure.
'Cause I just wanna, like, I want to
hell
be
yeah.
inspired again.
Hey, dude, if they didn't turn that function off in the room, there was a reason for that.
Oh, I just did it on like a cell phone on the side, just because I was like,
so they did turn it off in the room.
Yeah, I just didn't want to. I want to be careful.
Whatever,
you know what?
And I
But
told them that.
Yeah,
I said
for sure.
like, I recorded some of them, and I hope that's okay. And they were like, yeah, just don't share them. I'm like, yeah, of course. But yeah, just honestly to lift my spirit when I'm like, right, Edgar
Totally.
Wright's been in the thick of this. I
Right.
forgot about this.
Right.
Like he talked about film school, and just like we just poked him with a bunch of random stuff sometimes, and like laughed his. I was literally enthralled the entire. I was just like in a daze, like high school.
I get that.
dream. Yeah. So that was cool. I didn't get a chance to watch Last Night in Soho because they only did a live screening in TIFF, so they didn't post it online, nor was he allowed to give a link. He's also being very secretive about it. So that was like the big highlight.
Is he stepping out on that outside of his comfort zone? Because it doesn't sound like something that Edgar Wright.
He was saying like, because he, I think someone asked him a really good question about like, what comes first, like in your process? Like, is it do you think of a horror film? Like, for Shaun of the Dead, did you want to make a zombie film or a film about a guy who's just trying to, prove to his girlfriend or prove to his ex that he's a better person? And he's like, it's all timing. Like where he's like, me and Simon got broken up with our girlfriends at the time, but we were talking about zombie films, and then we just kind of collaborated. And he's like, that's how it's kind of been for each of the films. And I assume Last Night in Soho is something like that as well. We didn't touch too much on Last Night in Soho because it was like none of us have seen it yet, and he's being secretive about it. But like, actually, funny enough, he talked a lot about Scott Pilgrim, and like that was kind of the big one everyone kept poking him about, which is like my top 3 favorite films of all time.
For sure.
So like, which I didn't want to even tell him right away. It's one of those things like, hey, I'm a huge fan of Scott. Like, obviously, like we all are.
This is your fucking swan. Everybody, like, I mean.
Sorry, I was going to say, I think, if I remember correctly, in the last couple of weeks, there's been a little bit, he made a little bit of a comment about revisiting Scott Pilgrim, and I mean, like, doing a sequel where they're them now. Like, he's like, I would love to do it 10 years later.
Well, there's a sequel to the comics.
That's right.
Right, yeah.
And he was saying, like, he wants
He
to
just
actually...
needs to find finance.
I mean, and the thing is, I feel like him going down the Scott Pilgrim role now versus when he tried 10 years ago would be very different, because people know now how amazing him and Scott Pilgrim are together.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
He also did they did like a live reading during COVID, like lockdown.
Yeah.
Of the cast, which was very fun because Chris Evans came and did
it was
lines
great
and stuff.
It was
really.
It was
one
good.
of the best like live script reading.
And he when I this was after the movie came out already. When I was living in Toronto, him and Michael Cera, I think it was like in 2012, 2013, they randomly just screened it in Dundas Square on the anniversary of it. Like literally the day before, they like contacted whoever and were like, because Dundas Square would do screenings in the square all throughout summer, and they were doing Scott Pilgrim, and I guess it caught the attention of Sarah. I guess Sarah was still living in Toronto at the time. So yeah, and they showed up. And they were there for the whole movie.
That's
they did a
hilarious.
Q&A
That's great.
before, and then they stayed during the whole movie.
It's funny.
Like-
I actually saw Scott Pilgrim. I think it's at the Canadian. It was the Canadian release or the Canadian premiere at Fantasia Film Fest. I was there doing a student exchange program, and it was like I at the time did not know I was going to pursue film to this degree, and I was like. And so I went to see it, and it was like a packed theater. It was insane. Like, everyone kept clapping after each battle scene. And he was supposed to be there, but something happened with his flight, so he just sent in, like, a video. And I remember being like, oh, man, like, I didn't get to see him in person.
Yeah.
And so, again, like, I'm like, wow, like, he's a filmmaker that's revisited my life in a lot of ways, and has been very influential in my life in a lot of ways. So it was like very surreal. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it was like one of those like I will keep talking about this one.
He also just seems like he's not your. I don't mean to say this in a bad way, but he's not your
Say it in a bad
stereotypical Hollywood filmmaker. Like, he's such a humble,
totally
down to earth dude.
Well,
Like-
okay, hang on. He's a filmmaker. He's not a director.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Sorry, he's a
Right.
filmmaker, not a director. Because he's like, like even his style of when you see him like on sets and stuff, it just seems very, very like you said he uses the word collaborative, and I totally see that 100%.
for sure.
Like, he is interacting with everyone on set. It's not just him. And, and I know everybody has their process and whatnot, but he seems like someone that would actually be fun to make a movie with.
I was gonna say too, like, I think that's why, like, on the Marvel end, when he left Ant-Man, people like kind of freaked out a lot more because they were like, I'm for Edgar Wright doing whatever he wants to do for this movie.
Right.
I think there was like a lot more like sympathy for that one.
For sure.
Where you're just
He
like,
left
screw
the
that.
project as in was supposed to write it or supposed to direct it?
He started writing / directing it. Like,
Yeah.
he was in pre-production, and then it was just Marvel people were like, I don't like how you're shaping this, because he was trying to make an Edgar Wright film as an Ant-Man film.
Which, I mean, it's Ant-Man, and you went to Edgar Wright. Like, let him do his thing.
Exactly, which they have now with Taika and stuff.
Totally.
What do you think? Okay,
That's
hang
what I
on.
think if he did it now, if they
Now.
approached him now.
So what do you think they saw?
I think fast cuts of comedy. Like, I think it's like
Yes.
Did they see
too
just
quick.
a clip
But
of Sean, a clip of World's End, a clip of Scott Pilgrim?
I think, honestly, what it was is Marvel didn't have the confidence to trust a filmmaker like that. They still had their block that they needed every filmmaker to do. Because phase 1, phase 2, everything is almost a same recipe.
Yep,
right?
agreed.
But I feel like what we were saying now is now where Marvel's at. They understand. Obviously, Kevin Feige's like, hey, embrace. Like, if we're going to get Taika, we're going to get Taika because he's Taika. We're not going to get him and then, like, studio him, right? So I would love to ask Edgar if he got approached. Like, he never had that experience with Marvel, never even knew what. And they said, here's the playground. Do whatever you want.
He has a credit.
I would love
for
to know
it.
what
He does.
They still used his script.
Yeah, they did use his script.
Yeah.
And like, he has a bunch of credit, and also like, there's a lot of influence within it. Still, people say like a lot of that stuff.
Adam McKay, Paul Rudd,
Yeah.
Dude.
Like, how many of these guys wrote Ant-Man?
Dude,
That's why Ant-Man's pretty solid. Like,
Yeah.
it's a revisit where you go, oh yeah, this is actually a pretty high tier like Marvel film as a like just enjoyable.
For sure. And I feel like the thing that they kept to me whenever I watch that movie, and to me what says this is Edgar Wright all over it, is whenever Michael Pena goes, okay, and he does
Here's
the
how
let
we
me
do
tell
it.
you what
Yes.
happened.
Yeah,
That is
totally.
such an Edgar Wright thing, and I'm like,
100%.
ugh.
A lot of people have said that. They were
Right?
like, that is the thing that they probably
Totally.
took, and they were like, let's keep this one still in there because it works and it's very funny. And then they doubled down on it in the sequel.
I know.
Yeah,
I
which
know.
I'm like, great. I'm glad. Like,
And I'm sure when they were doing the sequel, like, it was, his name got thrown in, I'm sure, but I don't know if it's one of those things where what happened is just like, when Edgar wants to do it, he'll go to them versus them going to him, because
Right. Yeah.
I did see an interview once, and obviously you can't badmouth anybody, and
Right.
you can't badmouth Marvel, Disney especially. But it did sound like it was not great. Like,
that's Death Wish 47 is what that
yeah,
would be.
yeah. It didn't sound like it was, like, when they say creative differences, it doesn't mean that it was like we were good terms.
Yeah,
it
yeah,
means
yeah.
like kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
so,
double speak for
Yeah.
they didn't drink the Kool-Aid.
Yep.
Yes,
Totally.
Yeah. And again, I think that's the thing of that at Marvel at that time was still too formulaic doing what they were doing, and that's not what you get Edgar in.
Yep.
It's like if you got Tarantino and then you're like, but someone else is going to write the script. It's like, well, what the fuck are
Don't
you
make a
getting it for?
Tarantino film. Make a
Yeah,
Marvel
like, what are you
film.
doing then? Yeah.
Yeah, what are you hiring me for if you're not going to let me do my thing?
Right.
Fair
right.
enough. Any other like stupid highlights in film world
totally.
from TIFF?
I got another of the governors was Ramin Barani, who directed The White Tiger and was nominated for a screenplay for White Tiger this year. He also made like Fahrenheit 451.
that was Michael.
Yes,
Michael
B. Jordan
Michael
and
B. Jordan.
Shannon.
Yeah, that was a Tom Clancy novel.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's funny
Okay.
too because he kind of shat on it when I had my private session with him. He
Every
was like-
critic shat on it
Yeah,
too.
yeah. He was saying
Yeah.
he's like, oh man, because I was asking him. I was like, how was it adapting The White Tiger? And he's like, well, I love the book, and I didn't love the book for Fahrenheit 451. And he's like, and it was a lot of stuff. And he was saying like, he's like, I've learned after that experience that like to do things I love. And he's like, I was approached by Star Wars to direct something for them. He's like, I can't go into detail about it, but like he's like, it's it was like I said no because I'm like not in love with Star Wars like enough to like say yes about it. And he's like, and he's just a very down to earth guy, and like he teaches at Columbia, and like clearly he knows how to just talk to people who are like emerging in a way. Like he's just a really good guy with a lot of like history and knowledge. So he was very cool to talk to.
I respect that so much.
I know, right?
Because I'm sure they threw a lot of money at him that would have been like, I'll be a Star Wars fan.
Yeah,
But the
dude,
fact
hey,
that he acknowledged that, amazing.
I just want to say one thing. Get back to this.
Yeah.
Brian Johnson, that's what you should have done. Carry on, Ian.
Yeah.
Should have said no. Your ego
Yeah.
got in the fucking way.
Yeah.
I would say that like, oh man, we're not gonna get.
I'm not
into it.
calling you Rian, even though you want to be called Rian. It's Ryan. Spell your name fucking right.
Did I tell you I met him at like a festival and I sat next to him and I didn't realize it was him because I was just like he doesn't he's kind of boring looking. He's not like super,
Yeah, it doesn't stand out to someone that you're like, whoa, famous person.
And he's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
it was like we're at like Fantastic Fest and he was premiering Knives Out there, but I was at an early screening for this doc about sci-fi makeup in past Hollywood films, so they were talking about
Cool.
Star Wars, and it was like an afternoon screening and he was like next to me. And I was just like, I don't know. It was just funny because I think at one point he was asking me, "What's good here?" And I was like, "The hot dogs." And I was like, like, and then like at the end, like the directors came up and they're like, "We have a special guest here. Ryan Johnson's here." And he was also like helped us in the film, like getting access to a bunch of Star Wars people. And so come on down. I was like, I was sitting next to Ryan Johnson. That's fucking weird, man.
That's so funny.
Anyways, a few people like Alexandre Morato, who he just made he's a Brazilian filmmaker. His film's premiering at TIFF called Seven Prisoners. It's about a group of boys who just basically they're from Brazil. They think they're doing one job and they get basically locked up to be like working a junkyard and they're like prisoners there. It's very good. It's a really great feature. It's a second feature, I believe. Honestly, really just super chill guy from Brazil. Tracy Deer, we got like private sessions. She just made Beans. She's a Canadian filmmaker, indigenous. Her film like won TIFF like best new feature last year, I think, something like that. Sanjay Sharma, who's like a producer from LA / like entrepreneur, works in the music biz, like does a bunch of stuff. Met a bunch of casting, like from Casting Society of America, and like this one woman who's part of the Casting Society. She can't remember her name, but she cast everything. Like she cast the new Matrix movie. She casted anything.
What did you ask her like how hard it was to narrow it down to find the right Neo for this movie?
I did. I didn't even think of like looking at her IMDb till after, and then me and the other students were in a group chat. We were like, "Holy shit! Look at her IMDb," and we're like, "Holy fuck! She literally isn't like a casting assistant. She is the casting." Like agent or a person.
She checks the box.
She checks the box. She's the casting person. Like she would be like, on there as that. So for every
when everybody in the room's like, so, and they all look at her and she's like, yeah, we can
exactly.
use Cam.
Sure,
he
got it.
The big people. It's not on my list because she was like kind of a last minute add on. Was Leslie Hay something. Anyways, she's the showrunner of Russian Doll, but she's showrunning the new Star Wars series.
Yeah.
So
which one?
It's called starts with an A. The one she's doing. I can't remember what it's called.
Another Star Wars.
Yeah, right.
It's not the Ahsoka Tano show.
I think
is
it's
it?
that
It
one.
is. It
Yes,
is.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
it is the Ahsoka Tano
So
show.
she
Yeah.
Good job getting a girl to do that, by the way, guys.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
she
Whoever
actually,
listened to hire a man to make Ahsoka Tano, fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Well, she's actually sharing. She decided she didn't want to do the whole thing on her own. She loves Star Wars, but she's like, I want to. So she got a co-showrunner who is male to kind of like also share the role with her. 'Cause she was just like,
Great.
Smart.
Even,
Yeah.
Fine.
She's smart. If
She
Ryan
gets to
Johnson
choose,
did
though.
that, hey,
right? No, it's true. No, she's so cool, so down to earth. And I asked her at one point, like, I was like, "What's the deal? Like, how is it working with like something with so much lore?" Like, I was like, yeah, is it like scary or what is it? And how's it working with Disney? She's like, "It's been fine." Like, she was saying, like, it's like you get over that pretty fast because you're just like hired to make this thing. And
Right.
It's just like you're just in the gauntlet of it all, and you just go. But like, it's also like. I set my terms
your
and I was
mic up a
trying.
little bit.
Oh,
there you go.
I set my terms and I was like into it. So like, yeah. Otherwise, she was very cool. I think overall that was kind of like all the like cool people. Like there was other people we talked.
Can
to,
we
I'm
come out
sure.
from shelter now?
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
No, dude, I'm like I saw all your highlights and was incredibly jealous because I was like, there's like just everything. When you dropped the Jojo Rabbit, I was like, what?
Well, it's
like,
funny because I was at a cabin like 2 days before that, and we rewatched Jojo Rabbit because everyone at the cabin
Heil
loves
Hitler,
that movie.
Heil Hitler, Heil Hitler,
Heil
Heil
Hitler.
Hitler, Heil Hitler, Heil Hitler, Heil Hitler, Heil Hitler.
You didn't miss much. We had
Heil Hitler here, Heil Hitler there. But the best is when Sam's character, Rockwell's character, comes in.
Yeah.
And he has to do it all over again. Like it's the last.
Fuck,
That's
so good.
It's so funny.
that's the fucking
It's
bit.
written like that in the script, which
Yeah.
is funny because it's literally like 3 pages of just Hail Hitler.
I saw there's a page I follow and it's the script rolling
Yeah.
as the scenes
Yeah.
progressing.
Script to screen, I think it's called.
That's
that
exactly
Instagram
what
page.
it's called.
Yeah.
Shout out to Script to Screen, and if you at them, people find them. They're great because it's really fun to see how the words come to life. Like
Yes.
it
Yeah.
really is
Yeah.
a breakdown in like, oh, now I see why. Now I see why XYZ casting agent casted that person.
Right.
Fuck. That's awesome. How's your other shit before we move on? I want to know how your shit
Good.
is.
I'm doing a feature doc about. It's called Seeking Fire. It's about like financial independence, retire early. It's a documentary.
Yeah.
I'm doing that. That one's it'll be like a year-long process.
People want to know about that shit, man. Like,
It's more
that's-
about passion and money relationships, so that's going well. I'm
like what
slowly
people
trying-
do with their money when they can do shit with their money.
Yeah. Essentially, and
awesome.
like just how people like what do you like? Like the general question I've been asking subjects is like, what is your relationship with money? Define it in like a sentence, and that's kind of the general thing. So we're myself and my co-director are traveling for the next a little bit here and there around Canada, U.S.
Yeah, I saw that on screen. I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah.
Whenever I see your name pop up, I'm like, I know him.
Yeah, it's super cool.
I'm friends with that guy.
So doing that, honestly, like a lot of the sessions I had with these governors and stuff and the people, I asked them about writing because I've been struggling writing my feature, and I was like, how do I do this? And the cool thing about the governors is they watched and read all our packages and watched our films.
Oh,
So like, they were like, so they saw Strong Son, they were giving me like advice, and that's Strong Son's the short I'm making to a feature, and so it was very nice. Like actually, that was the message like Miranda, like the Thomason's mom, like sent me. She's like, I loved your short, by the way, because I tagged her in something, and it was like, oh, it was so good. I hope you do well with your feature, and I hope you
That's
find your
awesome.
writing. So, anyways, yeah. So like, I'm still writing that, still kind of working through, and then I have a short film. My Son Went Quiet. I'm in pre-production for, and very slow. And honestly, it's just busy of just me like fucking figuring out time to like do stuff while eat, like buy groceries.
Yeah.
And then
In between doing stuff, I have to eat, so I'm like, I have very little time to eat.
yeah. It's annoying. I'm planning on getting meal prep programs
Okay,
going.
hang on. I want. If you're asking, you could put this like so buried in the end of your documentary.
Yeah.
But Charles, what's your one word for money? What's your relationship with money in one word?
Oh.
One word or one sentence? Give me
Yeah.
something.
And not a
I
run-on
mean-
sentence. Don't fucking cheat.
It's definitely a love-hate relationship. I don't know. I guess my one word is necessity.
Huh, yeah.
I look at it as just what because I've never had a lot of it.
Yeah.
Let's say I've always been like, making ends meet
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I see it as it's a necessity, but not necessarily like a good one, like food. Like food is a happy necessity. I
Yep.
see
Yeah.
money as kind of an evil one, but
They both create dopamine dumps, though.
yeah, they do. They do.
You know.
Oh, of course.
How much dopamine did you dump when you bought that PS5?
I can. Well, that's what I was gonna say, and I can also understand. I got into at the beginning of the pandemic. I was watching 30 for 30s, the TSN
Oh, yeah.
documentary,
So
like
good.
crazy.
Yep.
And a lot of recurring things is athletes that are super young get tons of money and they fucking waste it all.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to be like, what idiots. And then I had a taste of that, let's say, Serb money, which is like 1/15 of what they have. And I was like, I kind of get it.
Yeah.
I kind of fucking get it. I kind of get it a little bit. Like, you know.
We interviewed a former CFL player who like he talked about that.
They
where he-
blow it all?
Well, no, not him specifically. He was smart. He dropped out of early, and he's like a big investor guy now.
Oh, see,
He does. He's all in crypto. But he was talking how he was saying when he used to go to the bars like in BC with all these guys, they would be like, "I'm buying a drink for everyone." Like they all had to prove that they were rich, and like that was like a whole big concept, which was like weird. But yeah, you know.
And
I got to pee so bad.
and
I don't care how rude that is, so keep talking. I'll be right back.
I guarantee they do that because it's a flex.
Well, that's the
right?
thing in the end.
It's
yeah.
an ego thing.
Yeah.
Because
like-
nobody wants to do, even if you can afford it, you don't want to
Well,
do that.
it's so weird. Like
It is.
because my relationship with money in like a single like sentence, I've always said I don't care enough about money.
Right,
I wish I did
right.
because I think a lot of, but like the thing is, I've never
like that.
fully struggled. I wish I cared more because I think I could be extremely wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't care because I know I have the drive, but my drive is driven towards like I've always said I'd rather be famous than rich.
Right.
Like,
Right.
because it just seems more. I've always said like people currency means more to me than money.
Oh,
you know,
I like
but-
that.
So
I like
so I don't know. It's weird, and I'll be honest too. I'm not a finance guy. Like I don't know stocks. I don't know stuff
Yeah,
like
I
that.
know.
Which is why the stock I'm always like really weird about talking about it because my buddy, who's my co-director, he knows that world more than me,
Right.
and I'm always like slightly awkward because of that. Where I'm like,
I know
I know.
nothing.
No, I
nothing.
I have a guy I'm interviewing and I chatted with yesterday about like finances and stuff, and he's like, he clearly knows money, and I'm like, I'm gonna look like an idiot.
Yeah.
But it's fine. Like
Yeah.
that's my character.
I have a savings account.
I'm in the doc, so like
I have an RRSP, and it was
Yeah,
only
yeah,
because
yeah.
work was like. By the way, that was a great pee.
That was
I didn't
fast.
actually. I went. I don't know. I had to pee, then I didn't have to pee, and then Shauna was upstairs, and I was like, "She gotta come see the dog."
Yeah.
So,
Adult-sized diapers.
adults. Should I just wear them to save time? Is that?
You are in sweatpants already.
God damn it! Your room, like your room commands the dog, Ian. Your dog commands the room.
She's just so sweet.
She is. She's just been sitting here being so fucking adorable.
She's very quiet. I'm glad. Like I'm like as I mentioned, I was like she's quiet. I will warn you. She's like I've brushed the hell out of her, and like she's in the season of like annoyingness. So
And they're getting their winter coats
winter coat,
now.
winter
yeah.
coat's
oh, yeah.
happening. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, she stepped on my ball sack already, Shauna. She just crawled up on me and wouldn't walk away. It was quite adorable. All right. Well, I'm super glad you got to experience that. Like,
Thanks, man.
Thanks for sharing
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
'cause,
yeah.
like, that's like.
It was a cool like I was definitely like I said it was one of those like life-changing experiences, and I also got to like where me and the other filmmakers are all still chatting, and like we're all in the same boat. It's like this like
awesome.
weird mafia now that we're all in, and we're like it's great. It's like
Yeah.
it's great.
Right,
type of
mafia you
community.
want to be in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like all these like there's some people like who are doing cool stuff like and they're they're in a different level than me, and like and there's some that are maybe like I'd say like but not beneath me, but like they're still kind of emerging to where I am. So
For sure.
we're all at these different levels, but they're all like in the same boat of like we've all been proven and tested. So it's very cool, and I'm like I don't know, I'll take this and use it towards the future. That's kind of like what this program was. They're like there's not really any mandate. We just picked you guys. It was a hard selection. And now, like, we want you guys to enjoy this and learn with it as much as you can and use it in the future and keep in touch with us. And I think it's an
awesome.
investment into TIFF in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
And it's funny because I was one of 3 filmmakers in that program who had a film play TIFF. Like, actually, for me, I was twice. Some people only had
Yeah,
a
because
film
you were last year.
last year in, like, 2016. So TIFF has invested in me in a sense. And, I don't know what that means, but, like, at least they know who I am. And maybe there's a
Mhm.
future there as a Canadian South
I was
Asian
gonna say
filmmaker.
it's
Yeah.
smart of them because like you're working on a feature
Yeah,
and
yeah,
right
yeah.
away, right?
Exactly.
They're gonna have that kind of like it works both ways, right?
Exactly.
So I think that's awesome, and
Yeah.
I
You're
love
producing
Canada.
something they're liking, and they're bringing you
Totally.
into the fold and
Exactly.
saying, "Here's how to make it better." And
Yep.
for
And again, Canada promote Canada.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on.
Ironically, too, in my application, I was supposed to send like a 1-minute video of me talking to a camera, being like, "This is me in my film," and I forgot. Apparently, I forgot to do that, and I still got in. So like,
awesome. They were like, "This guy's got balls.
This
we
guy,
love this."
I know he's so balls. He didn't even think of reading the full application. What an idiot
great.
for one of like an exclusive fucking lab. That you
great.
got, and I still got in. So.
I
One
love
requirement:
that. I
make
love
a
that.
video introducing yourself. Fuck you! I'm not
Fuck
doing what you tell me.
I just wrote.
Fuck you! I won't do
sent
what you tell me.
a digital file that says "fuck you." No, that is encrypted.
He's in.
No, it's just you sitting down in front of the camera being like, "Fuck you! I'm not doing what you
Yeah,
tell
yeah,
me,"
yeah.
and then you just walk off and
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
do a mic drop, and you're fucking. Oh, please come to the festival.
Yeah.
Please let us put you in the film lab.
I love that.
All right, well, let's go into the fake world.
Let's do it.
Let's do that. Let's talk about fake bullshit. Not
Yeah,
your
we're
shit
going
was
to
great.
fake
Your
this.
shit's not bullshit.
I
That's
know,
not by.
Session.
That doesn't mean that that's that. But some big trailer nonsense dropped recently, and this is the first time we've seen each other in a while. So I was like, let's just talk movies.
Yes, please.
And I've watched it 3 times. I still can't decipher it. So, Charles, we'll start with you. How did The Matrix 4 treat you?
Okay, this is what I will say. First of all, what an amazingly made trailer. As far as teaser trailers go,
I'll put it on the background.
one of the best ones I've seen in a long time. The music choice was fantastic, especially with the theme of Matrix and everything. Also, again, what I hate about trailers in this day and age is they reveal the fucking movie. This did what it should, which is it got me excited, and I have no idea what's going on. Like, no idea. I obviously have theories and whatnot, but I really, honestly, Matrix is one of those things that's one of my favorite trilogies, and I was fine with Matrix ending. Like, I was okay with it. This made me be like, I didn't know I needed more Matrix, and now I do. Like, now I want it. I want more of it. So
I really think that they really invested in the idea that if they're going to resurrect this, it's got a very narrow margin of success, because the third one was just kind of like, okay, Zion, great.
yeah.
Save the fake world.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Neo, Trinity.
It was
Great.
it was very that was the one that was very like, oh, this is Jesus, and he is
Right.
saving.
Yes. Yep.
Well,
people.
they were using that story. Yeah.
Right,
They were
like
using
that was
Jesus.
the most
Yeah.
head on the nail one
Yeah.
out of all of them. Where
I
you're
was
like,
who's Peter? Who's Paul? Who's Simon?
Right, yeah.
Which
Yeah.
one? Which
I
one
mean,
sits
even
at
the
one
way
end of the
Neo
table?
dies, he's straight
On
up
the-
like
yeah.
on the cross, like,
Yeah.
and he gets dragged away still very much like.
And he has his eyes gouged
And
out.
you
Yes,
realize the term
yes.
Zion. You realize the term Zion of the Last City. You're like, okay, like there's
There's
it's
religious,
really,
but
yeah.
like not in like they used what they used was the Greek god mentality
Mhm.
more than I think they used Jesus and the 12 disciples. But they stole from both.
Yeah, they did totally.
So
agree.
you get
Yeah.
a little
Totally.
of both.
And again, having the new one called Resurrection's very smart in a lot of ways.
It's funny
Again.
that didn't click in till now.
But yeah, like when I saw that too, I was like, oh, okay, all right.
This
Yeah.
Christmas.
But again,
I know.
Resurrections is so many things in Hollywood because it's like Hollywood. Some studios are having this thing where they're doing reboots that aren't reboot. They're like sequel reboots, right? Like,
Hey! Is this a reboot because it's a computer program?
See,
Oh,
The
my
Matrix
big
reboot?
theory-
that would have been actually a pretty decent name too.
My big theory, and Claudia hates. I've been talking her head off, and she's like, "Can you stop? Because you're gonna ruin it for me if this is like."
If you're right.
Yeah, when you theorize too much, you
I
come to
think
your own conclusions.
I go back, just like, honestly, for this alone, seeing because Matrix holds up so well still.
I agree. I actually revisited all three, and I was like,
it's
I
so
I
good.
like them better than I did when I saw them in theaters initially.
Right? Like, and it's innovative. It's
it's
still
innovative. Yeah,
now.
like there's problems. Don't
For
get me
sure,
wrong. Like
for
especially
sure.
like the sequels. Like
For
they're
sure.
just like too much in Zion sometimes.
For sure.
But
for
I
sure.
like it. I like
Absolutely.
how meta and
Right.
like almost like we're gonna eat the snake is gonna eat its tail.
That's
in
right.
in the storyline.
sure.
And I'm like, sure, like why not?
For sure.
Yeah.
But like having just like I know the action scenes are going to be incredible.
Of course.
Right? Like I mean, there's
Yeah.
no doubt about
well,
that.
think about it in this respect, where like you have the invention of Ian. What's the name of the camera they used?
Bullet time.
Bullet time. Thank
Yeah.
you. The bullet
Oh,
time
yeah.
camera. That's
yeah.
that's cutting edge at the time.
Yeah.
Yep.
No one had done that really.
So that's 21 years ago
Yeah.
that they used bullet time cameras and multiple bullet time cameras to show you what, like, to capture that image to transfer it through. So imagine what they did now.
That's what I mean.
Like
Well, that's,
comparing
like-
the technology, like
For
the
sure.
Avatar technology, what Industrial Light and Magic's doing with Mandalorian, like all of those things go into a way better Matrix story.
Also, like, just to, like, some of the stuff, like, you know, bullet time aside, they like building the highway and having that entire
Yeah,
fight scene.
that 2-mile strip they built in the desert.
That's an
unreal.
incredible, like,
Yeah.
action scene. Like, that's
Yeah.
still, like, probably in the top 5,
Yeah.
top 10.
And that's
for,
why,
like, you know?
and what I love is they're like, okay, we built a highway.
Yeah.
That's going to be a solid chunk of this movie,
Yeah.
and from start to finish, it's incredible.
It's a 15-minute.
It's
like,
incredible.
Yeah, like just
Right?
action.
We're talking the
sequence.
fights on the top of the trucks, right?
Yeah,
Everything,
yeah. They're
man,
like
from when
yeah.
Trinity goes against traffic to them on top of the trailer.
Morpheus with a samurai
Oh
sword
my
on top of
God.
a truck, like you
Oh my
know.
God.
And then the whole thing concludes with like Neo flying, saving everyone. Where you're like, where the fuck were you? Like
from one fucking
yeah.
side, right? And I love that they're like, he's doing his Superman thing, and it's just great.
It's
like,
so
yeah.
funny,
Where's,
yeah.
anybody know
great.
where Neo is? Where's Neo, guys?
Yeah,
He's doing a Superman thing.
yeah,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Fuck.
But my big thing is I go back to that infamous scene with the architect and how
Right.
that was totally meant to mind fuck everyone. And the more I watch Matrix, the more I actually do understand.
I'm
and
sorry,
now,
there's
I
the
agree.
architect, the key master.
yes,
Keymaker.
the keymaker.
Keymaker.
Yeah.
Was the architect the guy in the
Marav-
suit?
the architect was Colonel Sanders in the White Room.
yes,
who was like
vis-a-vis.
Oh.
vis-a-vis.
Vis-a-vis.
Will Ferrell did a great
Very good.
spoof. Oh, he did a great
Yeah,
spoof.
yeah,
of
yeah,
that.
okay, no, I know what you're
I
talking
made
about now.
Frogger.
Well, who was the French?
The
Oh,
the
Merovingian.
Merovingian, who's
Yes.
who's is reported to be in this. film.
Yes.
yes,
And it would make sense that the Merovingian would be in it. Now, what I think is the architect made it very clear that there is multiple Matrix.
Right.
Like they have a Matrix, it does this,
I know what you're
resets.
gonna say. Yes,
But we never thought, is it the same is it the same players, just different versions? And I feel like this is another version of the Matrix. Like in all the scenarios, Neo becomes Neo. In the one we saw, he becomes Neo much younger. In this
So-
one, he becomes Neo, and Trinity and him meet, but in a different part in their lives, in a different part of when like the Matrix is like falling on itself. Because in the trailer, he's referred to as Thomas right in the beginning, but then they tell Neo to follow the White Rabbit again, and it's like now not a reboot.
Are you speaking loops? Are you speaking?
I'm thinking-
are you
there's one-
thinking-
semi-loop.
I'm thinking the multiverse thing is making everyone go hard as a rock right now.
Yeah.
Everybody
And I
thinks they know
think
something about time travel because
there's
they saw
one-
Endgame.
There's one scene in the trailer where Trinity screams,
Yeah.
and it shows like multiple Trinities kind of like oozing out of her, and I'm wondering, is those the Trinities from all the other timelines, and their consciousness are now sinking into one? Because
Well,
Neo has dreams of the Matrix, not realizing he's Neo yet.
There's also scenes of them, like the robots fixing, what's her name?
Trinity.
Trinity.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, like there's scenes that because I'm like she was dead,
Dead, like
Like,
100%. Like
so
he
I'm
brought her
like-
back once and then couldn't again because she
Exactly.
died in the real world.
Exactly.
So like,
I'm like, I think what you're saying, there's something there because all the other like ideas I have in my head of whether this is like the robots basically took Neo, he was still alive, they replugged him back in, and just
Right.
kept him on this loop
right.
where he's like he will exist in this matrix that he now made like
Right.
at the end of the movie. And I was gonna say this movie looks so much different.
But you
already.
guys,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
right there in the trailer,
The blue pill
the
thing.
blue pill.
I know.
But he's got
He's
a jar of
drugged.
blue
I
pills.
know.
Yeah, I know.
So
I
here's
know.
so
That's-
you guys are all theorizing that he's in a Matrix. I think he's chosen
This
Just
might be
to
the
blue
piece.
pill. I think this is the blue pill addiction to be like,
Oh, so
I
he's going
don't-
back.
yeah,
Right.
he's trying to find.
That last line too, and he's like, "You're going back to where it all started in the Matrix." It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
yeah.
What the
yeah.
Now-
who are you?
and
Fuck.
and for you to see a completely different Morpheus, a younger Morpheus,
Yes.
Yeah.
that supports
Yes.
both of your theories on
Yeah.
timeline.
Yeah.
Right.
Mostly because, well, it can be Morpheus, but just not this Morpheus. It
Yes.
could be it's alligator Loki.
I do
It's
think.
Yeah,
old
yeah, yeah.
Loki.
I think Lawrence Fishburne is in this.
No, he has claimed that he was not asked
I
back.
totally.
I don't think he's in it.
I have a feeling. If I don't know if Warner Brothers could ever do this, but you know how Marvel could keep a secret like that and
Right.
actually do it.
Right.
I'm hoping that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
I really
The-
do because it's weird, that they'll have old Neo.
They're gonna have you know
not
what?
old Morpheus.
They'll have
like,
Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield in this movie, and not Morpheus.
and they're gonna be playing the spiders,
gonna-
just like these weird
Yeah.
programs
Yeah.
called the spiders.
The spiders and then
But even,
the
like-
goblins will show up.
Yes,
even
yeah.
like see that even though when Neo's jumping in that explosion, he seems clumsy. Like he's still
Yeah.
right. Like he's not clean running off the walls.
Oh,
like
I
this.
think we're gonna see.
And even when he jumps off the rooftop at the end, he's kind of like,
Yeah.
like, am I gonna do it? You know what I mean? So
There was a reason.
like, that's dope.
Ugh.
That's dope.
This trailer's getting me more
I
excited.
know,
on the
man.
rewatch. Yeah.
I know.
There was a reason Morpheus
Mindhunter. Ugh.
trained him in the way that he trained him and
Yeah.
woke him up. Like they
Yeah.
woke him up in a specific way. So I think you're gonna see what you're going to see is Morpheus
Yeah.
through the eyes of, and I can't pronounce his name and I'll bastardize it so badly. But
Oh, I know. I know what you're talking about. Candyman.
Candyman,
Yeah.
Watchmen.
Oh, yeah.
I cannot pronounce his
We'll
name.
just call
It's a
him,
beautiful name. I'm just gonna butcher it.
Mr. Manhattan.
Mr.
Yes,
Manhattan.
Mr.
Yeah.
Manhattan.
Yeah. He's an amazing.
He's
actor.
so good.
He's incredible.
He's great in Candyman.
Yeah, I was blown away with Candyman, and he was amazing in it.
Agreed.
but-
I think that they're gonna use they're
Fuck
going
out of
to
him.
use a
Yep.
lot of what the Matrix is
yeah,
to retcon a lot of things that have changed.
Yeah.
And they're going to, like you said, like, how do we know that when you plugged back in, you were always in the same
Agreed.
right.
the same
Program.
right?
Right.
Like if you came out, went back into the real world, is it the same real world you're entering every time?
Well, and
or do you enter a new point in it, new
That's
people,
right.
new timelines? So shit's going by, the world is stationary,
Yep.
but everything goes through it. And
Yep.
when you drop, you're not dropping to the same population,
Totally.
the same
Right.
people, the same
Right,
timeline
right.
again. You're dropping to the same drop point,
right.
but it's a whole new program
That's
Right.
in that.
That's right.
Yep.
Mind blown.
It's
Agreed.
like they want you to believe it's like a game where when you hit a checkpoint, when
Frogger.
you turn on, when you turn
Now I
on
get
your
the bit.
system, you're right back at that checkpoint. But the Matrix is a live thing
Yep.
because you're not the only user in it. There's multiple users, so it can't necessarily. Even in the first Matrix, they never get out at the same
Yeah.
place.
I
Yeah.
got
They
the
never go back from the same place.
No, they
right?
don't.
And what's interesting is now I just realized, I can't believe I didn't think of this. How are they going to explain tapping in? Because in Matrix, it was easy to do landlines. Where the fuck are they going to find
Oh,
landlines now?
fuck.
Wi-Fi.
Where are they going to find
Holy
landlines? Wi-Fi.
shit.
Bluetooth.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
So you
But they
can
got to
go
explain
anywhere.
that. They got to explain
There's
that,
gonna
though,
be
right?
mirrors.
Like,
They're just
You
gonna
know
go
what?
through mirrors.
You know what?
oh, and they did show that
Yeah,
thing with
yeah,
the
yeah.
mirror. That was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see Verizon coming up with some sort of product launch that they're going to put in the movie and be like the 5G towers that they're just like, right? But they're like Verizon's names all over that shit because they're like, how do we get money to make
They're
this
like,
movie?
You need to go in the Matrix. You get a vaccine. You get your 5G.
Right,
You're in.
right?
You're in.
Like there's and like someone makes a background comment. I can't believe there's no COVID here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like just shit to like fucking pump in
this hair, it
subliminally.
smells better. Yeah.
It's going to be really cool to see who they're going to bring out. Like,
Yeah.
who's going to come back, you know.
Yeah.
It's
It's gonna be
weird
cool.
that they kept the trailer till this long,
I
and that it's
know.
like it's coming out in literally like
I know.
3 months.
It made
yeah.
me nervous because I'm like, we haven't had a trailer yet, and this movie's coming out in
I
3
know.
months. That's never a good
I felt that way about
sign.
Spider-Man for a while, and then
Right?
it finally came out. I was like,
But
oh,
I
thank
think
God.
this is what they're doing now.
Yeah.
I think it's also a combination of delays.
Agreed.
Oh, it's 100%.
look at what
of
James
Switch.
Bond-
It's
Yes.
yeah.
I
We've
know.
been seeing shit for James Bond for 2
It's the
fucking
most delayed
years.
film ever made,
Dude, and
and
it's-
like the most expensive marketing plan because they spent so much money
Yeah.
on the initial
And
launch.
Daniel Craig hates doing promos. So imagine how miserable he's been for like.
Fuck him.
I think he
I'm
loves it
kidding.
now because he's that money deal from Netflix is stupid,
Right.
and it's his last Bond. So like he
Right.
knows that he's never.
Oh, it
gonna
is his
have-
last Bond. Okay.
It is
yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and they haven't picked that.
I'm
person
hearing
yet.
it's that guy from Bridgerton.
I heard that too. Actually,
I
I thought that
don't-
was a joke.
I
but,
do
yeah.
too.
Jean.
I think he's
yeah.
too
I'm-
young. I just
I'm
think
hot
he's,
with my shirt off, Jean.
I think he's
whatever.
too young, man. I don't want to see a super
I just
young
hope they
Bond.
just like if they go a younger Bond, they just they play with that a little bit.
Totally.
Like they just revamp
Totally.
it like they did with like Casino Royale, which
Yeah.
I actually was gonna rewatch Casino Royale tonight because I was like kind of craving a good Bond film.
I
It's
love
so
Casino Royale.
good.
It's
Casino Royale is the perfect definition of what a reboot for a series
should be.
should be.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And it's, hey, we know where we came from. We know
Yeah.
George Lazenby. We
Yeah.
know we fucked this up the first time.
And we know how cool parkour is.
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Also, one of the best openings to a Bond, the black and white,
Yes.
him actually getting his 00 status
Yeah.
like that.
I
Yeah.
know, right?
see what I mean?
Brilliant.
Reboot.
And
Brilliant.
it's funny. There's scenes in that
Yeah.
movie that's funny.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Like Bond takes a hit. Like he dies at one point. And
Yeah.
has to be brought back to life, and he's like,
Yeah.
comes in sweated up,
And he's like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah. Like
He grabs her like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah. Like there's like good lines in that movie.
No,
And
it
even
did.
his relationship with Moneypenny, it's charming. Because some of the
with
early
Manny
ones,
Penny
it's a
or
little...
with Eva.
Oh,
Green.
she's
Vespa.
Vespa, right?
Yes.
But like, even like I like his charisma with the female, like the Bond girls, a little bit better.
Agreed.
Because in some of the early ones, it's a little bit like.
You mean they realized how misogynistic they were, and they
Yeah.
actually were like, maybe
Yeah.
Bond should court them.
And I
Maybe
mean-
Bond should.
Yeah,
In
right.
Casino Royale, he still
Hey,
has that random.
James, maybe say 2 words to her before you dick her. You know,
he
like
always
let's
has,
not
like-
treat this woman like a piece
He
of.
always has his like
fuck
his,
toy?
His like fuck toy. Like he has his like
does.
one. He has like that,
Always.
in all the movies, and then he has
But
the
it's
one he has
still
like
respectful.
emotional.
He's still a.
Agreed.
Like
It's better done.
Sean would just be like, "Money's on the counter," right?
Yeah.
So with more, like, I mean,
you
I
know
love
who I
those
am?
movies,
Yeah.
For
but
sure.
and I'm not one of those like fucking apply the same
But that's-
ideas of then and now.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
at it's just nice to see that they're
Agreed.
like, we see that maybe
Yeah.
we need to fine tune him to the era.
And it seems like, that in those days, that's what made a man. Was
Right.
that he could just be like, "You, sex me now." And now it's like, he does that, but it's like the woman's just as enjoying and involved as like
Agreed.
he
Yeah.
is now, right? Like,
And like the one in what's the one where they're in the Day of the Dead in Mexico? Where like
Spectre.
when he's
Yeah.
like strutting with her, and
Yeah.
you think that something's gonna go down, and he was
Yeah.
like, "Bye," and I was like, "Oh, that's
Yeah.
different."
Yeah.
Like, I need to go save the day instead of being a womanizing
Yeah.
sex maniac. Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what's. Fuck. That's what I
Right.
want. That's why I want to do an argument of, can James Bond be a babysitter? Can a womanizing, alcoholic sex fiend look out for children?
I think only if it's his child.
Yeah.
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 I
Fuck.
think
We're
that's
go-
the only
I
way.
feel like it's that movie that Batista movie that just came out.
Oh,
where he's just like- I
yeah.
feel like that's the whole concept.
Yeah, totally. Because he's a hitman,
He's
right?
a
And then he
hitman
has-
spy or something.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Whatever that movie
He
is
has to
called,
take care of
that
that
came
girl.
out like 2 months ago. Yeah. I
I
feel like-
was that movie and that one he did with Kamal Nanjiani came out around the same time.
Apparently that's pretty good. That
It's-
one.
I liked
I
it.
haven't watched
It's good.
it.
Brew,
What's it?
Brew,
McBrook? No.
McGruber.
No. What are we? We are all wrong and right.
I'm hungry, so my brain power is like fucking lacking.
Skip something here.
Yeah, I'm gonna send a message. I think upstairs.
That's essentially.
That's
like
how big of a
skipping.
lazy piece of shit I am, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna text Shauna.
Hey, we're keeping people employed, right?
Yeah.
So there you go. That's
my
how I
wife.
look at it.
We're
That's how I
keeping
look at
my
it.
partner employed.
I mean, Skip.
Oh,
I mean,
Skip. Oh,
We're keeping
okay.
people employed.
I was like, I don't pay her to make me a snack.
I hope not. Fuck.
She works for Skip.
No.
Money's on the table.
Yeah, I'm the Bond girl in that scenario.
Except it's food.
Yeah.
It's just food. You womanize her for food.
Your snack's on the table, baby. Okay. Anyways, we're going down a rabbit hole here.
yeah,
so,
Matrix.
Matrix
Yeah, we're
4.
super excited.
Ma-
Super
yes.
excited.
It's
Cross.
great.
We should all go
I'm
sit
happy.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'd be
And
down.
you know, I was gonna say, and funny, smart of Warner Brothers. There's no Star Wars for Christmas this year.
Yeah.
I was
So,
thinking
yeah.
about
Smart
that.
of Matrix.
You
to
know
do
what's
the
also there's nothing
Christmas.
for Warner Brothers this year? Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and he went to Universal of all things.
Was it
Good.
Universal or United?
That's what
Was
I
it not
read.
United?
I read
Uni-
Universal.
Yeah, he
I
went
was
to
like,
Universal.
Huh.
Well, you know
Good.
what? But to him, first of all, Marvel writes for DC and DC writes for Marvel.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that,
it
that's
doesn't
gonna
matter.
happen. It
That's
doesn't
the
happen.
thing.
It
Yeah.
doesn't
No,
matter.
no, yeah.
But it's like money's money, man. If you're
Yeah.
gonna give me the money to make,
Yeah.
if you think what I
Totally.
do is worth your money, I'm just
Totally.
making my. You're my bank.
Exactly.
You know what? And I look at it. It's just like athletes. They'll go play with a club
Yeah.
or a team for so
Exactly.
many years.
Kevin
they'll go
Durant's
to
Kevin
another-
Durant.
There you go.
Yeah, it's
there
no
you go.
different.
Right,
You know,
totally.
It's fine.
And why not give another studio that chance? Like Universal. Like I mean, Fast and the Furious is an anomaly. I don't think anyone ever saw coming. But
You know
I
why?
mean,
Hang on. Do you guys know why?
Because it's the best.
No. Do you know why?
No.
they just believe in it. They let them do what they want.
Okay, I give you both a try. I'll tell you why.
You have a legit reason.
I have a legit reason.
Um.
Because it's family.
Fuck off.
I can't wait for the last one to be called Fast Family.
Fast Family? Oh my god, I hope so.
Or if the kids take over, that's what the
Yeah,
new
yeah.
generation should be called, Fast Family.
By kids,
The
you mean
Fast-
Tokyo Drift?
Yeah, yeah.
That are all like 40-year-old
Yeah.
men at this point.
Oh my god, that was so funny.
I loved.
Oh.
I actually am a late arrival to the Fast Furious. I actually watched them, all of them, 3 months ago for the first time.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
watched like 1 and 2 a long time, but then I rewatched
Right.
all of them.
Right.
They're
And
great.
there was, so it's funny because I was like, I need to understand why this exists.
Yeah, like
And so,
why it's so big.
I was like, okay, 3's campy, whatever. 4, I'm like, okay, this is like a decent like action movie. And then I got to 5, and I was like, holy shit, it's the Marvel Cinematic Universe coming together. They got Ludacris coming from too. They got like so and so. Tyrese coming from like they just
Oh,
started
they
like
assembled the team out of that fucking
and 5
movie.
is so good at The Rock and everything.
Oh, 5's the best.
5's the
Five's
best.
the best one.
Fast 5 is
easily.
My earpods are called Fast 5.
I love it. I
Because it's
love
so
it.
good. And then like I'm like 6 I like a lot, 7's okay, 8's great, and like 9 I love.
Where's
like,
your
I'm-
Hobbs and Shaw? in there,
Hobbs and
buddy?
Shaw's okay.
Yeah.
I'll take a hard right and come back into the
I
lane.
thought
Hobbs-
Hobbs and Shaw was okay.
It's okay. It's
Yeah.
so
Hobbs and
superhero.
Shaw is the best buddy comedy.
To me-
It is.
Out of
It
all
is.
of them,
Yes.
it
But
takes.
to me, the best scene with them, I think it's in Fast 7, is the prison break.
100%.
That
You
is
can't
easily
top
the
that.
greatest Hobbs and
You
Shaw
can't top
moment
it.
ever.
Yeah.
Like that was
Really?
better
You
than their
think the
movie.
prison break is better? I
Oh,
thought the
dude.
Hawaiian fight was.
That was good, but
Holding
hang
down
on.
a helicopter.
But hang
together?
on,
yeah,
hang on. How
that
about
was
not just holding down the helicopter? That was ridiculous. But like the quick change that The Rock does from like his
Oh,
his
yeah, and then
traditional
to the
Hawaiian
Oh, yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
And then they're just like, just so that everybody knows, we're
Yeah.
gonna take a shot of him changing clothing.
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
it would be dumb for him to run into battle.
Yeah.
outside of Hawaii.
Which is funny. Of all things, Fast and the Furious, they're like, we gotta show
Continuity
them
of
change.
changing.
I was like, you now care about fucking proper
Yeah,
filmmaking.
you guys took a fucking Ford Aspire into space with tinfoil wrapped around
yeah,
it.
and you
like,
care
yeah.
about fucking exposition
Right.
and continuity. Go fuck yourself,
Right,
Fast and
oh.
the Furious.
I
So funny.
actually my favorite line in Fast or Hobbs and Shaw is when they're like fighting and he's like, "I'll take a hit for you if you take a hit for me." Like, and I
Oh,
was like,
yeah.
"Family."
Yeah,
I was
totally.
like, I love that scene.
Totally.
Like,
At its bare, at like if you know, like the 12 stories, right? If
Yeah,
you
yeah.
strip it down, it's fucking what is it?
family.
It's a family movie.
Nice. It is. But no, it has it embedded in it is like the adventure, the assemble the team.
Right. Yeah.
the-
It's like
yeah.
it's the Goonies.
It's the
Totally.
it's the Goonies with Nos.
Yeah.
Totally. Totally.
You know, it's that story, and that's
Yeah.
why it works. So,
Yeah.
however wait for it, whatever vehicle you use to deliver it to the people, be it a tinfoil ridden space car,
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
or I don't know, like whatever Vincent Toretto's driving
Oh
in
my
the
God.
next one,
Charger?
like
I don't
Charger.
know.
that
He
is-
always brings his dad's car. He finds
Yeah.
a way to bring his dad's
Yeah.
car back
was like,
somehow.
how many-
Remember him? He has a long lost brother of John
Oh
Cena.
my God.
And they go, I see it in the jawline.
I know. They like, oh.
They know that they're fucking with each other.
They
Like
totally know.
I love that
They
Tyrese
totally
is
know.
just like, we don't die.
Yeah, that whole bit was so
like
and that's what I'll say is that Universal is doing with Fast and the Furious the same way Feige does with Marvel. They're just
Agreed.
giving the fans what they want.
they just said, fuck
Right?
it, let's double down.
They're
get
embracing
Yeah.
it, and like the cast is all in.
Yeah.
Like, they all embrace it and
Yep.
whatnot. The Cena thing, just having him in the mix, it's because I know The Rock's done.
Yeah.
So they were
Which
like,
sucks.
who's a replacement Rock? And it's
Yeah,
definitely
it's
John
Cena.
Cena.
Yeah.
But
for sure.
that's totally the studio being like
Yeah.
lifting up their skirt and being like, here's the mechanics of
Yeah.
how this works, which
Yeah.
is like
Yeah.
in the algorithm,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're like, we must have a wrestler.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Like that is key
Yeah.
to their
It was either
success.
it was
And
clearly
the-
like this. They pat a bowl and it was like Batista, Cena, and they like stirred the bowl out and it was like Cena. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
no matter what, though,
Drax was busy.
no matter how much bigger he is than Vin Diesel, he's an even match to Vin Diesel.
Yes.
Totally.
No matter what.
Totally.
Yeah.
They're the
Because
same
in
size.
Fast 5, that fight with The Rock and Vin Diesel, you have to laugh. Because The Rock grabs Vin Diesel and like throws him through a wall. Yes. But then Vin Diesel does it back and you're like, no.
No.
It's
no,
true,
no,
but
no,
I
no,
still
no,
love
no.
that fight scene.
Totally.
But
I
like,
know. I know what
totally.
you
Do you know
mean.
what's funny
Totally.
about that is that you're basing your perception of The Rock's fighting skills on a scripted TV show you grew up watching him on. I do
That's
the
true.
same
No,
thing.
that's true.
But like, no,
That's true.
we've already been taught
Yeah.
that based on how
Yeah.
you write a wrestling match,
Right.
Yeah.
one will look like the face and one will be the heel. I
Totally.
just started
Right.
watching Heels.
Is
Yeah,
it
it's
good?
good.
Oh yeah,
It's
oh,
good.
it looks good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I should watch
but
that.
like
yeah.
it's all scripted, so you know that The Rock has been designed and produced
Yeah.
for you to be tougher.
Right.
And he's always like, that's his bread and butter. So he's always big. He's always, like
Yeah.
banana pancakes, crushing
Right.
it, on it, lifting
Yeah.
it, broing it,
Yeah.
fishing it, whatever. So that's just what you expect.
For
Right.
sure. But I think we also forget is that The Rock, especially in Fast 5, he's just powered by like being an officer. But the Vin Diesel's powered by family.
right.
Right? So like that's really hard to overpower
all about
family. It's all
family.
about family, man. It's all about family. Dude, I have to say too, in the newest one, when even Jordana Brewster
Yeah.
and John Cena have that moment, that's again them being like, oh, right, because Vin Diesel and her brother and sister, and that makes sense.
Yeah,
Now we have to
yeah.
make them all related.
They have to have a moment together where I was like, oh,
and she's
right.
like holding his hand. She's like, I can't let go of you or something.
Well, they
like
go,
that. And it's
or they go like, at one point. I actually, the one thing I give credit to the entire like universe is they don't let Paul Walker die.
True.
And I'm
True.
like, that makes me feel so good. Like, man, when I was watching like 6 or 7 for the first time, I was texting like friends who also are huge fans, and I was like, when Vin names his child,
I know,
fucking
Brian.
Brian,
Yeah,
I was
you're
like,
like,
no, this is so good.
I know.
I love this fucking movie.
I know, and even in the new one, right? They're like Brian's with the kids, and you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
nice that you're at least acknowledging that he
Totally,
exists in this
and like at
universe.
the end where they're like, "There's one spot missing," and I was like, "Is it Brian?" And
Yeah.
it's like the car drives in.
Yeah.
I'm like, I love this.
I
movie.
know, right? I'm like, okay, and I know that Paul Walker would love it because like he was just as invested in that franchise,
Totally.
as
Yeah.
Ben was,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Like, for sure.
I would.
It's another. Sorry, just to throw in this
Yeah.
another thing that I'm blown away with for losing a lead actor for a franchise. They've done really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a $1 billion franchise.
Because
Yeah.
most franchises or TV shows,
Yep.
that's the beginning of the end.
They're
and
done.
Fast is just like, nope, more money.
Yeah, the
Yep.
algorithm
More
was like,
money.
we're 72% less cool because
Yeah.
we lost Paul Walker.
Yeah.
So, pack it in, kids.
Let's bring in The Rock and John Cena. Who else
Yeah,
wants
yeah.
to be
No
in the
shit.
playground, eh?
Let's put a pin in this. Although I'm so glad you've now been exposed to them, Ian. Like,
It
like
took
you're
a
in the
while.
fold, man.
I know,
Now
I
you can-
love it.
You can
I
talk,
get it.
You can talk absolute trash with the rest of the world. This is a question that I found on Reddit that I think was going to be fun to ask, and let's see if I can get it right. So, in the Snap or Infinity War, what ends up happening for those of you who haven't seen it? And I don't know, maybe you were snapped previously and launched into a different universe and have no idea what movie we're talking about. So why am I speaking to you? The point is, in Infinity War, the snap occurs, and we didn't really get to decide who stuck around and who left. Kevin Feige did. So I thought it would be fun to ask this question after I saw it. Out of those that were snapped, who would you unsnap? But thusly needing to balance proportion, who wasn't snapped that you would snap and change the trajectory or have their storyline carry on, right? Because they could have done anything. They followed the comics to a T, but you really could have been like, well, no, I think Peter should have survived, and so on and so forth. So because I'm asking, I guess I should go first and let me dig into the notes here. So I thought, and like this is, it's just because like they didn't utilize him, so I feel it's a waste. But I feel I would snap War Machine. Oh, look at that! Right? You're already thinking. Do you already agree with me on that?
Yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Like, and it's due to if you're going to use somebody with like you had Iron Man,
Mhm.
so to keep Brody, you have two like the studio was like, well, we have two of the same characters, but like you didn't use them together.
Mhm.
Nobody would have been like, meh.
But who would have done that bit where he goes, "Why can't we just go and kill?" You
Well,
know,
I have
Thanos?"
that. I have
love
that
that he
written
mimics
down.
it. He's like, and then Deadpool does it or
Yeah,
tries to.
Yeah. And like who calls him out for it? They're like, man, that's dark, man. Like,
Yeah, I think Hulk probably. I
yeah,
think
it's
Bruce
Ruffalo.
is
It's
Yeah,
like, no,
yeah.
we can't do that. That's dark. That's horrible. So I got rid of War Machine for that reason, and I kind of just thought like, well, he did want to kill a baby. Like, yeah, it's baby Thanos, but like, okay, hang on here. Do we have to like at 2 months old, like 2-month-old baby Thanos? Like, why don't we wait till it's 7? Like,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
just like, you know,
maybe
I don't know.
maybe as a fetus.
There you go. There you go. You
Then
push
it
the
becomes
mom,
then it becomes a debate. Then it becomes a
push
question.
the mom down the stairs.
Whoa.
They don't have stairs. I'm
And
just
they don't.
kidding.
We don't know if he was born by a mom.
That is
no,
a
we
good
don't.
point.
Yeah.
That is a very good
He
point.
could have been a fucking egg.
Yeah.
Like, we have no idea
Drop the eggs down the stairs.
that.
That's true.
Just
Easter egg hunt
call
gone
up,
wrong.
call up Yoshi.
Yeah.
Just have him eat him. That's the most humane way to do it. The PETA people will probably get upset because he's not a real human, so that must mean he's
Right.
in a different species.
Yeah.
So you can't kill a Thanos because killing a Thanos, that's dark. Yeah, and then I would replace War Machine with Loki.
Oh.
That's what I thought, and it's
Wait,
only
Loki
But
didn't.
Loki didn't die from the snap?
Yeah.
no. but he died.
I guess he died from Thanos.
Yes.
Though,
So like, I'm stretching it a bit here. I
Yeah.
do understand that. They're my goalposts. I can do what I want with them. So, but like, yeah, I would bring back Loki in that regard, because his mischievousness, his lying, his manipulation, way more beneficial to the team. Even if he's a loose fucking cannon, you can still count on him to look out for himself until the very end. So that means by proxy.
Oh man, and then imagine having 2012 Loki, current Loki, and then Lady Loki, like a trio
Three
together.
Three. That's a.
Well,
You're getting sexy now.
Well,
you're
'cause
trying to.
he would have seen his life in the TVA, and it would have ended the way that we saw
Right.
it end, right?
That
So
does
imagine how that
change.
would have changed. That could have been
What if?
well,
Right.
There you go.
What if that changed? So that's where I thought, and I could beat that to death, but for time and the rest of the list, it's really fun to go through.
Also, quickly,
Yeah, no.
that would change Thor's like whole arc within Endgame,
Very
because
true.
he's like, I have no family anymore. Remember?
Yeah,
That's right.
right.
He
That's right.
his whole abandonment. My planet's gone. Everything's gone. I
Yeah.
have no family. I have nobody. Well, now he would still have his halfling brother.
Yeah.
And like a Loki is a thing. Like watching Vikings there's another show that was on Netflix that Shona watched where like this kid became Thor and then this other kid became Loki. Like a Loki is something you become.
Yep.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
it's
I know. I always call myself a Loki.
right. Like
Yeah,
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 you
yeah.
can do that. You can be like I am a Loki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Loki is usually followed by the first name, and then son.
Yeah.
So for Icelandic, right?
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like Ginla's son,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
like Eric's son, right? So it's Loki Erickson.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, that's kind of cool. Charles, what was yours?
So it's so funny that you mentioned. So I 100% agree with you. The War Machine thing. I love War Machine.
Yeah.
Love him. But I feel like the MCU after Iron Man 2, they just fucked him over. Like I don't know why they didn't utilize him. Because I like Don Cheadle too.
First of all, they got rid of Terrence
yeah,
for no
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
reason.
Yeah,
There's reasons.
Terrence was
Yeah.
he was like, no, I want more money than
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. And they're like, dude, get the fuck
He's
out
like,
of
I was
here.
in an Oscar-winning movie.
Yeah, so he tried pulling the Oscar card, and then at that time the MCU was like, dude, we're lucky that Iron Man did well.
Yeah.
Like this is all a gamble still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna be a diva after one movie,
I wish they
Get
kept
rid
him
of
because I
it.
do
Like,
love.
bye.
I think I like Terrence
I
Howard
do,
a lot.
I
like,
do.
more than I like Cheadle in that role.
I
but
do love Cheadle, but I do feel like Cheadle's too old.
He just he's
just too old
just
for the
looks a little
role.
weakly.
Yeah, a
Old
little
Cheadle.
bit.
Yeah,
little bit.
Yeah,
he looks
but-
like he should be playing golf.
So what I did, I traded War Machine for Spidey because obviously I'm a diehard Spider-Man fan, and then I was thinking, I'm like, but fuck. Tony's motivation was Spidey, but I think the motivation would still be there because after Civil War, Tony was like broken that Rhodey got like almost murdered because of the whole thing. So I think if Rhodey, it wouldn't have had as big of an impact for him losing Peter, but I feel like it still would have been the motivation there for them 5 years later to do what they did and get everybody back.
Yeah, sure.
Because I was worried that trading them would be like, oh, well, then the circumstances, even though people are still snapped, it might have been like Tony wouldn't have joined. Because what really pushed him was that fucking seeing that photo of Peter Parker, right? And letting down that kid is what seemed to really push him. But I mean, yeah, my thing was War Machine just because like they did not utilize him well.
No.
And Secret Wars is happening, so I feel like that's their way of trying to make it up.
Sure.
But we got to see it first.
Right.
Totally.
I want to know the rest of the casting on that. I
sure.
want to know a lot about that.
Well, if they're doing it like the comics, War Machine is the lead. So I mean, you know, and I know they're gearing up to have a new Iron Man, which makes sense.
Yep.
So Secret Wars would feel like the right time to do it.
Yep.
So they're going to recast.
No, it's not a Tony Stark. So what they in the comic books, Tony had an intern who was this like young girl who was like a Peter Parker, and it turns out that she is like a brainchild. She's like Tony in this like girl essentially, like the way her brain works.
Right.
And she's this intern, and I guess after Tony goes, there's like a part of the facility that no one has access to, and she gets access. And she actually gets access to Jarvis and everything.
Similar to.
And it's
Far
kind of
From
like,
Home.
yeah, it's a very far from home-ish, and it's almost like that is her, you crack the code, so you're, you know, honorable to be the new Iron Man because whoever would figure this out would have to be the person to put their foot
Yeah,
and their
yeah.
steps. And she changes the suit up it becomes Ironheart is
Oh,
what the
right.
name
I know
becomes.
this. Yes, of course. Yeah.
Because
Okay,
also
I've
she
heard
doesn't.
talk about Ironheart. Now I know the
And they're-
reference. I thought it was just that lion from the
No,
Care Bears.
No, and
Yeah.
they're apparently
That's
they're
funny.
apparently
You like that? You like
doing
that?
an Ironheart
TV
Disney
show.
Plus TV
Yes,
show.
they are. You're right.
Oh,
So I
I
feel
forgot
like
about
Secret Wars, and then that's going to spark her own show,
Right.
Yeah.
and it makes sense. And then because again, Disney is so smart right now, they're going to do character building where they can in the TV shows.
Right.
So then when they show up in Avengers stuff, if you're like, whoa, where did this new Iron Man come from? You can watch
Right.
that TV show,
Right.
but you'll also do it in a way where you can just watch it from there, and you're like, this is cool.
It's
Like,
just
this
another
is-
story. Yeah.
It's just another story. You're in a
Yeah.
comic book store now, is where
Right.
we're at the MCU.
Yeah.
You can pull an issue here, and they can play together now. That's what they're, especially if they're going to bring in Fantastic Four and X-Men.
It was so expensive to get here.
Oh my god, dude.
Oh my god.
Dude, that Quicksilver like cameo, right, in Wanda, it was literally Disney saying like, we got it, we're doing it. We spent a lot of money on this shit.
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
doing
yeah.
it. We're
No,
doing
I
it.
just mean world building previous to that, just to build the
Yeah.
world, just to build
Yeah,
the base of the pyramid.
totally.
That's production costs
For sure.
alone
Right.
are in the hundreds of billions.
Easily.
You know,
Easily.
but yeah, the purchase of like fuck you, now we own, now we
Yeah.
make shit bitches.
Right.
Ian, what about you?
It's funny. So I know who I get rid of right away, and then like who I want to bring back is hard. So I'm gonna say, like, Black Widow, mainly because like her death was so unjustly. I thought that I was like, I don't want to see her die that way. Just bring her back later. Like, let her
Yeah.
snap and disappear and come back. Like, it doesn't affect. Here's my thing too with this question. It was trying to figure out something that didn't really affect the overall arc of the movie. Where I
Right.
was like, you bring back Loki, the Thor storyline changes.
Yeah.
You're right with Spider-Man, because I thought Spider-Man too, because I was like, I just loved seeing
Right.
Spider-Man. I fucking want more Spider-Man always. And it was just like, he was such a good funny character because he was so like
Yeah.
green.
Yeah.
He had something there, but there's too much there, and it was nice that they kept the core. Now it's funny, in my headspace I was like, who would I bring back? I want someone that would be like slightly
Useful.
useful but not really effective at the sense
Yeah.
of like, because they basically got one of everyone from every kind of world. And at first I was like Spidey or maybe Quill, but I want someone that doesn't really. And then I thought Sam Jackson, but I'm gonna go with a shitty answer. I can't remember the character name, but oh fuck, I can't remember the name offhand right now. Sam's assistant.
Oh,
played
Maria
by-
Hill.
Maria Hill. Thank
yeah.
you. I was like,
Yeah.
I know her, Robin from How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, I can think of her like
Oh,
character name.
I thought of her
yeah,
too.
Because-
from yeah.
How I Met Your
Yes.
Mother. Yeah.
Because she's a similar, like, I'd say like War Machine situation where she's kind of useless.
Yeah.
But she's there. She exists. She doesn't affect the world in a sense. They have like, she's not a Samuel Jackson, which will command leadership over the group and everyone will look to her.
Right.
But she will be there to be like,
She
just-
knows the logistics of
she
the
knows the
situation.
logistics, and she's just not super powered. She's actually a good replacement for Black Widow, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with
And
that.
Yeah,
she could have
I'm
died,
down.
and I wouldn't have been cared enough. But I've been like, okay, a character that's been with us since essentially day 1, like is gone now. That's fine, And I was like, that would be a fair person I'd see in the group that like gets her a moment to shine
Yeah.
for whatever reason.
For sure.
And where Black Widow got her movie at the same time, like she got her like time to shine in there. So those are my picks, which is like, I know they're weird ones.
No,
but
no,
I'm like,
No,
no.
those
I
are
think
great.
they're, like,
Those are
those
great.
yeah.
Those are strategic. I feel like you were playing.
Frogger.
Can you believe they wanted to
No.
name it Highway Crossing Frog? That's so lame.
No, I thought you were doing some risk there. Like
A
you're
little
like
bit.
you were like,
A
I'm
little
in
bit.
Australia. How do I conquer now?
Yeah. I'm getting 2 men every turn. Like, yeah.
But no, it's because like you got to think of the ecosystem, right? With removing one and bringing in another, that can really change the whole.
It's totally the butterfly effect of like,
Totally.
the situation. yeah.
Totally.
Ooh,
That was
yeah.
Homer
butter.
with the toaster.
So good.
Oh,
Dad, there's
you
still
know what?
another toaster in your head. Ah.
I can watch, like, I think they designed the end game fight scene just as its own short.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
filmed.
Yeah.
It's just filmed in a way that breaks from all of the way it was filmed up to that point, and it's just like, hey, we're starting something that we just want you to be in here.
Yeah.
And it did such a good job doing that. And I'll watch it just to be like,
Yeah, I do too. I
Like,
watched
it's
that
just
last
such a
40 minutes all the
Yeah.
time.
It's
amazing.
I do.
it's the best part
and
of
the way
any
they bring
movie.
in everyone, like
I know.
Any
Tessa
movie, like
Thompson, like
Yeah.
bring her in with the Valkyries. I was like, oh yeah, like,
Right?
Yep.
Oh, dude, it's so good. Everyone has their moment. Hello.
Oh, she's
Hello,
she giving you
sweetheart.
kisses?
Oh yes, she is.
She is a very good
Hi,
dog,
sweet- Oh, she's so.
Ian. Like she's a.
You're the.
I'm
best.
glad. I'm glad it, like we're all pro dog. I
You're
was
the
like,
best.
I'm always like,
fuck.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was always like, get a little nervous. I'm like, oh.
My dog is timid too, so I feel like they would get along.
Oh, that'd be
really,
great.
really
She needs
well.
more friends, so I'm like, I'm just trying to find.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the next item of business, I guess you can say, because this has been some serious fucking talk so far, and we're not leaving the fake world yet. The next line of business is apparently right now the Library of Congress has put out its. I'll bring up the link while I'm talking about it. They've put out the way to nominate a film for the induction into the Library of Congress as part of the lifetime of moving pictures, and every year there's 25 films that get brought in, right? So it's like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for movie cultural heritage. It's like a bunch of like Manitoba heritage moments.
Right.
Right? Doctor, I smell
So
burnt toes.
specific. Yeah.
It's just like that, but way cooler.
Yeah.
So anyways, I thought, wouldn't it be fun to, whatever movie, doesn't matter. Like there's no right or wrong answer to this, which is the beauty of film and cinema and all together. It's like, fuck you. Neither of us are right. We can both think what we want. What movie would you want to put into the Library of Congress? Like, what would you submit? What's your pick, right? Like, is it Con Air? Is it you
Wicker
know,
Man.
like Beautiful Life? Like what?
Right.
Beautiful, maybe Javier Bardem, right?
Yeah.
Or Mean Girls. Like, what do you feel is something that is part of the fabric of life and film that should be like remembered? Because Clerks is in there and Titanic's in there, right?
Interesting.
Like, so Clerks is there for, I guess it's like pop culture and topical references, where Titanic's there because Cameron's like, fucking let me in.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Ian, you go first. Like, what's your
so
pick?
I didn't look at the list, so I'm like, I want to say my pick, but I feel like it's probably in there because it's a legend. Because I'm gonna pick a legend.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna pick Back to the Future.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All
And
right.
I feel like that's in there.
Well, keep talking about it, and I'll start searching
Okay,
about
so
it. But like, just a
if it's
brief why.
If Back to the Future is not in there, I do have another pick. But Back to the Future 1, it's my all-time favorite movie. I think it's hands down like just one of the perfect films. I think it just it shows so much of that decade of 80s, of culture of 50. It subverts expectations of what time travel is. It's a story of a family and parents. Like it's a story of
a story about incest.
it's
If
a
you're
story
Disney.
of incest.
Preventing incest. Preventing incest.
Yeah. It's
By
like, you
any
know-
means necessary. Incest stops at 22 gigahertz.
But in my opinion, it's always been a near perfect film.
I agree with you. I think it's I
Totally.
think it is the perfect film.
Yeah, like it just hits
Totally.
every moment and does every playback. You know, like we see Marty on a skateboard, and later on we see Marty on a skateboard. Like it knows what it's doing. It's a full cyclical film and understands, and it leaves. If there was no sequel, I would have been fine. I
Yeah.
would have been like, I am okay because this was so satisfying. It's a perfect meal. And I rarely get those. And it's a movie I can constantly rewatch, and I have rewatched many times. It's Chicken Soup. So for that reasons, I think it should be in there. If it's not in there, it should be. I'm glad I didn't look at the list because I'm getting really annoyed in the anticipation. Because if it's not in there, I was like fucking.
Yeah, I'm getting annoyed at my Wi-Fi because like I don't know.
Whoa,
like it's
whoa,
not
whoa.
like we're like spinning, we're buffering over here
Oh my god.
while this happens. So maybe all of us, like I don't know, like
LTE.
yeah, no, I think it's because I let you have access to my Wi-Fi. My
It's
Wi-Fi's shit right now.
What? No way.
Somebody else search
am-
Library of Congress, National Film Preservation. Library of Congress, Back to the Future would bring it up. So I'll
Okay.
do
You
the
know what
same
it is?
thing.
It's IMDb TV playing in your background.
That's what's
constantly.
fucking throwing. Oh my god!
Like this nonstop, like me watching, and it's funny because my chair is seated directly in front of the TV, so I'm just like, you guys are talking, and I'm like, wow, there's so many good things on TV I'm missing
That's
out
so
on.
funny.
And at the same time, I'm like, I've seen too much in my life.
Oh, let's see here.
I'm conserving battery life, so I'm gonna let
Screw
guys
you
do
and
that.
your excuses.
My excuses are fair. You
Okay.
guys, Back to the Future should be in there. Fuck you, world,
It
for not.
should definitely be in there.
I agree. I think we all can.
I'm already surprised by like if it's
The Hurt Locker's in there, then fucking what's it called? It has to be Back to the
well,
Future's gotta
Kathleen
be.
Kennedy. She's got to be there. She's like.
Nothing against it. I'm just saying if
No.
that movie is, then Back to the
Great
Future
movie.
fucking should be. It is a great
it's
movie.
been a while since I've seen it.
Oh, I
Great
hate
movie.
Wi-Fi today. Sorry,
Oh,
listeners.
Rushmore. That's definitely
Also
should be
a great
in there.
movie.
Library.
A great
of
second feature.
Congress.
It
This is
looks
what
like
everybody
it
wants to
was-
listen to. Me talking about searching shit. We don't have a
I can-
Jamie. We still need a Jamie.
From what I can see, it looks like it was campaigned, but I don't know if it is in there.
Interesting.
Okay, all right. We'll go with campaigned. Oh, hang
Interesting.
on, hang
And
on.
disappointing. in
Hang
the
on.
world.
Back to the Future, Library of Congress.
It's in there.
It's in there.
Yes.
It is. It is
Thank
confirmed.
God.
Yes, it is. It is.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Okay, well, my other choice for not like something that should be in there is we were touching on it earlier, Scott Pilgrim versus the World,
Totally.
which is a film I think that just is again just fun, unique, special. Is essentially a comic book movie that is not a comic book movie, that is about something bigger and greater than what it is. It's a beautiful looking movie. It's so different from what is out there in the world, and for that alone, it should be there. I don't know what
I felt it was Canada by looking at that film. I was like,
that's interesting.
100%.
I was like, that's a Canadian winner, eh?
And it
Oh, I-
actually it feels like without it
Yeah.
jamming down your throat.
Yeah, I was just like,
That's
oh, that's
Canadian?
an HMV,
It does.
Eh?
It does.
right?
Pizza.
Yeah,
Oh,
pizza,
right?
pizza.
Yeah, like the fact
Oh,
that
that's
their
that castle in
place.
Toronto, eh?
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
felt very like, thank you, Edgar, for
Yeah.
like knowing
Toronto.
Toronto,
He seems
but
to
being
really
like,
like Toronto.
Yeah.
but like
he really
not
likes it.
not being like Suits and being like this is New
Yeah.
York, right?
Yeah,
no,
it's
yeah.
for sure.
fucking Toronto,
for
Yeah.
sure.
Toronto.
And I think we all know that it's not going to be in there. Like I don't feel like I need to check or we need to
Okay.
check.
Oh,
It's not-
if
No.
it's not, it
It's
should
not.
be.
It's
No.
not going to be in there.
It's not, it
Like,
won't be.
We already know the type.
I
of
think
movies they
also
would pick.
too is it has to be. I think it needs to be certain
Certified fresh.
or something like it has to be a certain. It has to have been released for a certain amount of time.
Right.
If
yeah.
I remember
well, there's some
correctly.
shit that's like 19 first picture, 19.
18 I
Right.
saw
Right,
was like one
like-
of the first ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just say Hurt Locker's in there. So
That's
it
what I know.
must
Hurt
be, like,
Locker's 2009, so it's got to be at least like a
10
10-year.
years. Yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
but at the same time, the Library of Congress and this Preservation Film Board is preserving films in an archive.
And she was the first female director to win an Oscar for that movie, I believe.
Or
too.
just like get noticed.
So I
like,
could see
to
that's
be-
part of it
yeah,
as well, because
like-
that is a historical thing, right, in film. So
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, that's a. and
it's a
that's-
great movie. It's a great movie.
Listener, it shouldn't be a historical thing. It should just be a normal fucking
Just a normal
thing.
thing. Yes,
We all
yes,
know that,
yes.
but it just needs to be said more. So I was saying it today. But yeah, no, yeah, I don't know. Do you want to go next, or do you want me to go next?
Oh, I don't care. It's
Okay.
whatever you want to do.
Are you
man.
done? You
I said
I
my
love his
piece.
pick.
Okay, yeah.
I love him.
I didn't want to cut you. You've
No,
been a
no.
while, so I didn't want to.
No, I feel like Back to the Future. Like I was like, I feel like it's on there. I don't want to check, but like, Scott
I'd be so
Pilgrim.
depressed if it wasn't. To be
Well,
honest,
that's the thing. I'd
that'd
be like, I'm
despicable.
like, I don't want to have to like, because if I see that list, it's gonna affect what I'm actually. thinking.
yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
For
Well,
sure.
That's why I was like, okay, we should just pick what we think should be on the list. And I was like, no. I'm picking Fight Club. No, I'm kidding. I didn't pick Fight Club. But like,
I wrote
Shawshank.
down- I
no,
wrote down
well,
Fight Club.
my pick, Boogie Nights.
Oh,
It
yeah.
should be on there.
Yeah.
Is it not on there?
Oh man, let's see. It should be. That's a
a
phenomenal.
PTA amazing film. Like that.
That's
I,
one of his best.
I would say like if not like
I-
There Will Be Blood, and that is like.
Oh my God, no kidding. There will be
Like,
blood. Yeah.
I think Boogie Nights will be on there. Why wouldn't it not be?
Registry.
It's
It's too sexy, huh?
Well,
too much
it-
ditch
So
diggler.
good.
I just picked it because of its like it's comical, it's satirical, it's heartbreaking,
It's heartbreaking.
intense.
I think that movie.
It is not yet in the film registry, but it is being campaigned. So
Okay.
it sounds like it's on a list that would be like.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Hey, thank
Okay,
God.
nice.
Yeah.
So Ian gets a point for nailing it because his
Yeah.
pick is on the list, so he's got good taste. People are campaigning for mine, so hey ho, let's go everybody.
Yeah.
Boogie Nights. The reason I picked it, was because it is so like it's so right on top of society.
Oh.
Like it's not.
I stand to be corrected. It is now a part of the film registry.
Oh, there you go.
Booyah!
It is.
Oh, there you
It
go.
is now.
My half point went to a point.
It is now.
And
And so is Batman and Robin.
why would you save that when there's a fire?
Sorry.
Like
I'm so sorry.
Now we can never talk about it.
So
No, this
sorry.
list is burnt.
Jesus Christ.
But it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't soil it. But at the same time, it soils it.
Why would? Yeah, whatever. Okay,
All I'm-
you
all
gotta
I'm-
pick
yeah,
a new one.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry,
Well,
I'm so
Boogie,
sorry.
Boogie Nights mostly because it is so on top of life. Like it's when we watch an action movie, when we watch a sci-fi movie, it's so far away from real life
Yeah.
that I like when I watch something and I'm like, I've awkwardly done that. Or that's something I wouldn't want to admit in public, and I
Right.
don't have the balls to make a film about it
Right.
and put myself out there in that way.
Right.
So all of the things that take place in that movie, outside of what the porn industry does to you, but like shame, rejection, addiction, heartbreak, just all of these stories that get told from all of these different characters' perspectives, well before like the birth of porn.
Yeah.
And now that porn is so fucking damning to the youth of tomorrow, right? Like everywhere.
Yeah.
Right then it was
Yeah.
like, in the end of the movie, they're like, we're going to film, Jack. And it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
what? We're going to film? Like,
Yeah.
or sorry, not film,
VHS?
VHS.
Yeah.
And you're just like, you're watching a very close tracing of what I imagine that industry starting off to be.
Yes.
And it just being so fucking fickle, and like watching Macy's wife like get
my
plowed in the
God.
parking lot. Get
Throughout
out of
that
here!
whole
Get out of
movie.
here! Right?
Or
They
like the Heather Graham scene where she
Oh,
like,
Roller Girl.
They're basically doing Bang Bus.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
are.
And
Yeah,
like,
and it shows the
it's-
reality.
the
of,
reality of it, of
yeah.
her being like not into it, and
Yeah.
it being so
Yep.
sad. And
Yeah.
it was like it's like the first Bang Bus because VHS and stuff too at the
Yeah.
time.
Just
Like, it's fucking
so
weird.
gut-wrenching.
Like that movie, I remember watching it as a very young. It was on TV and thinking it was like, oh, like I was kind of like 13 and getting kind of horny for it.
Of
and
course,
like,
yeah.
because it's like a lot of nudity and
Of course,
stuff, and
yeah.
it's about the porn industry. But then like I got so depressed by the end of it because it's just a really good movie. It hit like every emotion in a lot of ways, and I was like, Jesus.
Thomas Jane and Alfred Molina in that movie are like two of the best performances
forgot
in that
Alfred
whole.
Molina's
Oh my
in it.
God!
Yeah, you're
and
right,
that
yeah.
scene is incredible.
Oh,
He's just,
okay.
He's
so,
hopped up and he's like, I got these tape. He's like
Yeah,
one of the
yeah,
first guy to have a tape deck. So he's
Yeah.
got multiple
See,
mixtapes in there. And Tom
what's-
Jane is that fucking crazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
But what's
so great
what's
in that, too.
interesting about that is one, I argued it for a debate. So check the show notes, ladies and gentlemen. You can go back to that debate and listen to me use. What did I use Boogie Nights for? I think, weren't you on that one, Charles?
I don't think so.
I've done so many.
That sounds great though.
I hate to. That's not a humble brag. That's just like you can't keep track of all the dumb shit we say.
Yeah.
But we did an episode where I used Boogie Nights as. It was something so like.
I just have to make one correction because I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
It's
Boogie
not on
Nights
the
is
list.
not on the list.
Fuck you!
But it's on the. It's so it. From what I'm reading, the reason why it was misleading is that they're going to be announcing their next
Oh, so it's likely
slate of
on the
movies, and it
list.
looks like it's on there because it got campaigned, and the campaign says it went well. So I'm like, I would
Right.
assume that means it's good. Like I don't know.
It's funny.
well
'cause
done fact checking
It's
yourself.
so bizarre.
Who
It's so
is
bizarre. But yeah.
campaigning is the thing.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's kind of like the same way that the Oscar has a committee that decides
I
which
see.
movies make the cut to be voted.
I see.
It's them, so they have a list of movies, and then the committee decides
All right.
kind of thing.
All
And then
right.
if a movie's been nominated and hasn't won it, it goes into a different queue, so it can be like it's basically like it's on our getting there list kind of thing
Right.
like that. So people
Right,
Honorable
right.
mention.
and then if people campaign more for it, then it's one of those things where it gets
Gold
like
star.
Yeah.
It seems like it's a kind of a fucking insane process.
It does.
Well done.
with little like
Yeah.
glory.
Yeah, literally. It's
Yeah.
like your movie will be preserved now.
What's yours?
So I just because we were discussing The Matrix, I said The Matrix.
Sure.
Just because of what we were saying too, I feel
I
like
think we're fucking living in it, man.
and also in film history, it's just iconic. Like no
It-
matter how
it's-
much time passes, nobody made a movie like that.
I
before,
will
right?
that out
Like,
of all the ones that said that is the one that is for sure on the list.
it's. I think it has to be.
Yeah.
Like it has to be
I
on
got,
the
I got this
registry.
one. You keep talking.
The other
Keep
one,
selling
so
it.
in case it is, the other one I picked too was Dumb and Dumber. That was
It's funny because Ferris Bueller was like
Yeah.
part of mine, but I was like, that's got to be on
I
the
think
list.
it is.
I
Yeah,
went-
I think I saw that it is on there.
I went comedy, if not
Yeah,
that, like yeah.
because that's what I was doing. I was like, what movie out of like I went genres first, and I
Yeah.
was like, and dramas like I feel like Shawshank's definitely on
It's
there.
on there.
Right?
It has to be. Shawshank's so good.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Fight Club. I wrote down Fight Club
It's
because when
on
I think
there.
Fincher, I'm like Fight Club right away.
Yeah. Actually, you
Um,
know what? Sorry, I had a thing before I wanted. That doesn't matter. Go on.
But yeah, it was. And then comedy was the one. I'm like, I know Annie Hall is probably, if it's not, it's been
Yeah.
campaigned at least, right? Like,
it's definitely on there.
so I was thinking like even Little Miss Sunshine, I feel like is
Oh,
definitely.
interesting choice, yeah.
But when I got to Dumb and Dumber is the one comedy I think no matter how old I get, I will always just. It's like
so funny.
it's so good.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's so smart. Like it's
I
funny.
that movie is like The Simpsons for me.
Yeah.
Where it's like I can quote it, I remember
Right.
it so well.
Right.
Like, you know, it's just pretty bird,
Oh my
like
God.
things like that. Like I'll just like randomly say sometimes. to
Wanna
myself.
hear
Yeah,
the
he's
most
like,
annoying
Our
sound
pets'
in the
heads are falling
world.
off. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, he was old.
How'd they
How did Petey die? His head fell off. Yeah, he was old.
how'd they know I have gas?
I can't.
Gas,
my-
man.
gas in
Oh my God.
Charles, you have to. Oh, hang on here. Film, video, Library of Congress.
The line I've been
episode.
saying lately, which is like my favorite line, is like, "Big gulps, huh?
Yeah.
See you later."
See you later. Oh my God, because I think that was one of those things that was just Jim being Jim. I don't even
Totally.
know. I bet you those guys were actually hanging out outside of a convenience store, and he's like, "Hey guys," because it's so weird.
It's so funny.
Yeah, and it's
like,
so perfect.
It's something I do all the time whenever like I walk it and I see like friends just like sipping on something and be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, beer, eh? See you later."
See you later.
Like,
Oh
I
my
love
God.
that line.
It's just so like, and it was again one of those movies where I feel like when they were making it, they weren't like, we have Jim Carrey, we have
Right.
Jeff Daniels, like
Right.
this is gonna be a masterpiece.
Right.
And I feel like it was one of those movies that over time people started appreciating it more
For
and
sure.
more and more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, no, Dumb and Dumber was one that, and then yeah, it was like. Matrix, I think I wrote down to one that's more recent, but I just feel like when it can, it should is Jojo Rabbit.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
Again, as we were talking about earlier. like,
Totally.
yeah, amazing movie.
Right.
And like will be on that list at some point.
For sure. And I
Agreed.
mean, even its approach, like, I told people, I'm like, it does kind of like a Tarantino style where it doesn't change history,
Yeah.
but it gives a different perspective to it kind
Yeah,
of thing, you know?
it's funny that movie. I forget it's Taika and think it's Edgar Wright a lot.
Yeah, hey?
Yeah,
Like,
it does because it feels so Edgar Wright.
I would love to get those two in a room together.
Though they feel
right?
similar.
Totally.
They feel just like
Totally.
comparable in my opinion. They're like two guys that I like, you know, I get their humor. They're
Yeah.
my humor.
Yeah.
It's something it's interesting in that sense.
Their brain works on a level that it's like genius has to be associated with it. 'Cause
Yeah.
their brains just work in a way where they approach everything from outside of the box.
Yes.
And their window is always different. So
Yeah.
it's always, that's why, like, I would love, and I don't know if Edgar would ever talk about it or whatnot, but I would love to actually know what his original plans were for Ant-Man and what fucking scared
Man,
the studio
I
so
legit
much.
thought about asking that something like that,
Right.
but I was like, I can't.
He might just hate it, you know
That's
what I mean,
the
at
thing.
this point.
You
That's
just,
why I'd
like-
rather be like, what would, if you got approached now by Marvel and
Yeah,
they
yeah,
said
yeah.
do anything.
Yeah.
Because I also feel like Edgar's go-to wasn't Ant-Man. It's just that was the project that came to
That's
him.
funny because I think it would have been like
Really?
I
Yeah.
remember when they announced it and I was like, this is right.
Yeah,
This
because it's
feels
such
right.
a weird random character,
And
right?
well,
like,
and Ant-Man in the comics was kind of mouthy sometimes.
Mhm.
Like, you know, he was like a Merv of the mouth. Like
Yeah.
he was like a Deadpool. Like
yeah,
you
he's
know.
a comic relief
He
there
was a
for
comic
everybody.
relief. Yeah, he was a little bit of an asshole.
And
sometimes.
Paul Rudd is the best.
Exactly. Yeah.
Gentlemen,
Yes.
I think I found it.
Dumb and
Ooh.
Dumber.
Matrix is not on the list.
No.
Oh, it is. My bad.
Oh,
My
It
bad.
is.
My bad.
God.
Okay, it got on the list in 2012, and it is
Oh,
on the list.
nice.
It is.
Nice.
I found the entire list. I was like, I'm going to find this.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I found it too, but it's just not. Oh, okay. It's not in alphabetical order. It goes by
I
like.
sorted it
when
by
it was
alphabetical.
released.
It goes by year that it got
Yeah, I had a
indicted
feeling.
in. So I'm like,
I think I've looked at this years
come
ago.
on.
And
Crazy.
Let's see here. Yeah, no, Boogie Nights is the Big Lebowski is though.
Yeah, I saw Big Lebowski on there. I
Yeah.
wrote that one down too.
I feel like mentioned this on the podcast before, but I've been making in my notepad. I have just a general list of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
I've been doing.
Yeah.
I've been
So,
doing
like,
Letterboxd to do that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
should just use Letterboxd. It's funny how I just randomly. But yeah, it's just on my phone.
I
it's
use an
quicker.
app. It's called Letterboxd.
I should just get Letterboxd. I don't
It's
really. Use
it's
it.
actually pretty sweet. It's a
Yeah,
pretty, it's
it
pretty
is.
down.
Like
I've been using it actually the last week with TIFF. I've been using
Yeah,
it a
yeah,
lot
yeah.
more.
Well,
so,
it's up
like,
to date, and you're just like, okay, I want to see what's out, and then you're just like, they like all the new shit's there, and you're just
It's
like, I'll
also
watch
funny to
this.
follow people that hate everything. I love those kind of people too,
It's
because
Yeah.
their reviews sometimes are like 8 pages. Like they gave a half a star for like something like that. You're like, why would you like the latest Terminator movie?
right.
And it's like, dude, I just feel bad for you. You
Yeah.
wasted more time on this than anybody deserves.
Right.
How much
Yeah.
time do you waste hating?
I
on- whatever.
I remember years ago there was like I think it was like TV.com and like you could write reviews on there. This is like early internet stage or something
Yeah.
like that. And I went on there. I was a huge Buffy Angel fan, and Angel like I'm gonna say season 4. Second last episode called Sacrifice, and I remember like watching it and reading way into it and
Yeah.
needing to vent and going on the episode forum of that and writing this like fucking like 3-page essay about the episode, and then like sending it off and feeling so proud.
I always wanted to meet you. I always wanted to meet you. I've
What
been
was
waiting to meet you since I
Angel-
found myself in chat rooms.
Angel sacrificed his son for and I went on this whole rant, and I remember thinking I got so much satisfaction that and how no one will ever read this.
Right?
And,
Yeah.
like, but,
Well, I've
like-
done that
Dude.
too. I'm
Yeah.
not saying I'm innocent of it.
Yeah.
I've totally been.
But
like,
you know what? When you finally get that spotlight at TIFF,
Yeah,
when
yeah.
their feature blows up, they're gonna find that, and I hope someone does, and it'll be
Yeah.
so funny. Like I love when they go and they find shit. 'cause,
Yeah.
Because you're like, no one will ever see that.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
don't think it
no.
exists. I actually looked. I think that's like closed fully.
They
for,
just
like,
the forums
the
are all shut
forums
down
are
and
completely
everything.
shut down. Like I don't think that exists.
look at what this man thought about
see,
XYZ movie.
I love the early days of the internet for that you could just write something and it wouldn't do anything. It would just be left there, if you know what I mean. And like
Speaking of
whatever.
Now you can tweet and send people to the Capitol
Well,
to steal
it's
the
like-
furniture.
well,
yeah, literally,
the,
literally.
they put up the Matrix website.
Yeah,
because
man.
of the new trailer.
Yeah, and what's funny is Hideo Kojima, like one of my favorite video game developers, did it before they announced the trailer was coming, and everyone's like, does Hideo Kojima have anything to do with the movie? And then Warner Brothers hours later was like, trailer's coming out tomorrow. Here's the website.
Oh,
So it's really
interesting.
funny because apparently the website was still active. It's
Yes,
just
it was.
nobody
no one was
used
using
it.
it. Yeah.
So Hideo Kojima was like,
Guys.
hey, if a Matrix movie's coming
Listen.
out, you guys should use this website. And then Warner Brothers fully dove in
This
with it.
listen to me. Listen to me. The Watchmen built a website that would allow you to go read documents and get drafts, memos,
Yeah.
memorandums, all this shit. Memos and memorandums are the same. I know that. All this shit. And you would get backstory on the characters, and they would release a new thing that had to do
See?
with their web. So hang on. So they did that. Westworld has a functioning website to treat you like a
Guest?
guest
Oh.
going to the park,
Cool.
talking with an AI.
Cool.
I can't remember his name, but you can converse with him, asking
Yeah.
questions. The site's broken because it's in real time with the show.
Oh, that's so
Weird.
funny.
Using websites as the fourth wall break
Yeah.
for promotion
I love it.
is
I miss
starting
it,
to be
man.
a thing.
I know. I miss
And
this
like,
whole thing.
I wonder if the fact that the Matrix went offline, but the website never did,
Yeah.
Right.
and if they tie
Yeah.
that into the story
Right.
somehow.
Well, did you see, like, so what they did
that's
was the website, the day before the trailer came out,
Yeah.
everybody had a different way to enter the website. And it asked you a questionnaire, and based on the questionnaire, it would show different stills or different clips from the trailer.
Yeah.
And this one
that was
guy,
the red pill, blue pill site,
that was
right?
the red, yeah. And
I
this
saw that.
one guy, like, found, like, he did all the scenarios and put together the stills, and then the next day when they did the trailer,
Oh, I see.
it was like, oh
It
yeah,
was
this was right.
18,000 frames.
It was something
That's
ridiculous like that. Yeah.
That's like Black Mirror, that Netflix special where they did like the
Choose your adventure
Choose Your
thing.
Adventure
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
which I secretly hated, but like
But it's totally like it's so funny that you brought up the website thing because I remember going to Famous Players and seeing the poster and finding the website and going, and they were all
agreed.
interactive websites.
Yep.
Like
1997.
oh, dude,
96. Yeah.
like so good. Like one of my favorite ones, like one of my all-time favorite movies, and it's a trash movie, but I just love it. Is Freddy versus Jason.
I think it's
one
Freddy
of my-
got
one of the
fingered.
original.
I was saying Freddie got fingers. when he wrote that?
Another, but yeah, one of my all time. But reason being was I remember when that website launched,
Yeah.
it had the whole history of Freddy's story,
Yeah.
the whole history of Jason's, and then it showed the timeline of them coming together, and then it's like, and now they
Interesting.
meet, and it shows them
That's
staring down.
funny.
And I remember it was like, oh my god, and the only way you could see that was through the website, right?
Interesting.
Like, yeah.
Well, I was gonna say bring up one Blair Witch started it all, and in that sense, the viral
Yeah.
Lost had very interesting stuff.
Very
even
good
though
one.
Obviously, it ended.
Yeah.
Final Destination had like whenyoulyoudie.com.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the one that I loved, which didn't really, it had a website, because I bought Donnie Darko on a blind buy and watched it and loved it. I remember being up till 2 a.m. and then was like, I don't understand this movie, and then stayed up till 4 just on the internet reading about the lore of it and being like, oh, I had to read this stuff to understand the movie. I love this. And they had
That
a
was
whole
a sleeper.
website.
Nobody knew that movie was coming, and it failed. And
That
it's
was almost
cultural.
one of my picks for the thing because
It should be, because you know why? It's the tale of what cult can do for a film,
Without a
Oh
doubt.
yeah.
Without a doubt.
right? Like
Totally.
that's its story. It's
Yeah.
it's one of those. All right, hopefully DVD does it, and it did.
Yep.
Also, watching Gyllenhaal in that, and now it's like he's just such a good actor.
I
at such
love
an early
Gyllenhaal.
age.
I talk about
He's
him
one of the
all
best.
the time.
He's
like,
easily one of the best
so
actors in the
good.
world right now. It's
Agreed.
amazing.
Like
It's
he-
amazing.
I watched Nightcrawler like
I
frequently.
rewatched it like 2 weeks ago.
It's-
Yeah.
I can't believe he didn't get any nomination for
can't
that movie.
believe that,
It's
yeah.
insanity.
Also, Riz Ahmed in that movie is so
Unreal.
good. Like,
Unreal.
Insane. Like
Unreal. Like
So
he's
good.
another
That
actor
whole-
that I'm like, I don't know where you came from, but you are one of the best right now.
He's my dream
Like-
actor for my feature, to be honest.
Oh,
Like
man.
he's my go-to
He-
if like possible.
I don't know. Like I
Hey,
get
Riz,
why he did.
Riz, I know you're listening. Riz, Riz,
We'll
if
we'll have
you-
the
if you hear
contact
this.
information after this. So
Yeah,
you can get in touch with
it's
us.
all in the fucking show notes. Email me. I promise I'll pass it along.
But like it's I miss those websites.
I do.
I do too.
Because
I-
MySpace replaced it for a bit,
Yeah.
and then Facebook did it, and now it's Instagram. I think now.
It is kind
Yeah,
of
Yeah,
well,
they all have an official Instagram page, and they don't even use it as good as they should, man.
They end up with like 80,000 fans or some stupid number and 4 posts, and you're like,
yeah,
why are you like?
yeah.
What are like they will? Do you think the only media campaign this movie's going to do is Instagram?
Yeah, I know.
They will
I know.
fucking launch on every platform on
Yeah.
the planet
right.
to
Yeah.
get you to come put eyeballs on it. So why are you following? I never understand that. Like they make the fucking account.
I know.
And it's like this
I know.
website thing is so much more fun. It's tangible.
Yep.
It brings you into the
Yeah.
world. It's something I couldn't think I
And not
didn't
only
think I
that
could
is
talk
that-
about with anybody else because I was like, oh, I know
Yeah,
other
yeah,
people
yeah.
like websites and movies and TV shows
It's
too.
easier to reformat a website than what you're going to start an Instagram page for every
Movie.
that comes out.
I
Like,
know.
are you kidding me?
and then never delete it. So
I
when
know.
when I tag you, this is all about first world white boy problems. But
No,
like,
no, but I agree. I think it's just like clutter. There's like
Yeah.
the social media clutter, which
Yeah.
I'm very against. I like having my selections. Like I don't
Yeah.
follow things back that follow me. I'm
Totally.
like fuck this shit.
Totally.
I'm like, there's a reason why. Like it's funny because people say like you post a lot about your dog. You just get your dog its own social media. I'm kind of like fuck that
know.
shit.
no,
You're-
my dog and me are social
my
media.
I
my
know.
dog is that. My work is that. My
Yeah.
like I am myself. I am my business.
And when I told you this, I was like, people always said that for me with my dog, and I was like, well, no, because I agreed the same thing.
Yeah.
Also, my dog's gonna get more followers than me, and that's gonna make me a whole nother level of sad.
My cat has
yeah,
more
exactly.
followers.
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Guys,
like-
Burger has more followers
That's
than
what I
us.
mean. It's like, fuck that
Yeah,
shit.
I don't need this.
I'm like, what do I need to do?
Burger
Put a-
doesn't even know what's going on.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't need that in my life.
like
That's-
all Burger sees whenever we talk is diabetes, 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 right? Like a fucking 33-pound cat has like 700 fucking some
Love it.
stupid whatever. Followers don't matter.
I also
Content matters,
just-
but I know
the
you know what
least
I'm
amount of time on social media right now, the better too.
Agreed.
Right? Like I think
Agreed.
it's nice to.
saying. Okay, let's stop talking about real life
Yes.
bullshit.
Yes.
One last thing before
Yes.
we go, and this is the fun
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
This is the thing I think we all had to look at because we're like,
Oh yeah.
if we're gonna be honest, right? And drop our phones in our crotches. If we're gonna be honest, I didn't grow up watching Mad Max. I still haven't seen the originals because I'm just like, I don't want to see what got rid of his Australian accent. Like I don't want to be exposed to that Mel Gibson. And I mean, I know it's in Lethal Weapon 1 it's still kind of there. But like I mean I know them enough to understand Fury Road and its rise back. And
Funny enough, in the first one, I think he has 10 words total in that whole
He
movie.
really does.
Yeah, and
barely
Mad Max-
anything.
It's something ridiculous like that. Like, he only actually starts becoming a real character, like,
In
talking.
two.
In
Yep.
2. And
So-
they kind of did that in Fury Road, because in Fury Road, Tom Hardy doesn't talk much.
no, he doesn't.
True.
No.
But okay,
No.
but
Until
we
the
have
mask comes off.
Yeah.
until he's burned.
And even then, like, he's not talking much. Like, he says, like, grunts. Like,
yeah.
grunt speech, right? Like, yeah. Yeah. And it makes sense, right? Like, but yeah. Anyway.
Blood
you,
boy.
You haven't seen the originals at all?
No.
Oh, wow.
No,
I saw
just,
them
Wow.
a long time ago. I barely
Wow.
remember them, but
and,
I like them.
Okay, you know what? I shouldn't say I've never seen them. I know I've seen them with my uncle and my dad.
For
at some
sure, but
point.
like not like they don't stick in your mind.
They don't stick in
they're
my head
not,
either.
They're
Yeah.
not Rambo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
For
If
sure.
we- So
For sure.
like this I thought was fun because I mean Ian knows, we all know this, like the worlds that you see get built, the props that are made sometimes get sold at auction. Right, when they know they've made some cool shit,
Yeah.
or they make carbon copies of it, like my fucking lightsaber. You do it yourself, make your
Yes.
own lightsaber.
Yeah.
and you pay lots of money for these things. Well, all of the cards from Mad Max Fury Road are going, well, the majority of like the ones that we've seen, the ones that are in the actual shots. Where's my phone's in my crotch still. Great place for your phone. Brought to you by my crotch. So they're all going to auction. And I thought, well, it's been a lot of cars. And it doesn't matter. Like Fury Road is where I pulled this from. Thank you, Screen Crush. Inspiration. Awesome. You're my muse. So I thought, wouldn't it be fun to be like, okay, what car? Like what? Like nobody. I drive a Kia Rio.
Yeah.
So like my pick is going to be in the
Me
complete
too.
right, like it's
Yeah.
complete opposite direction.
Yeah.
So I picked. I mean, it's not like it's obvious, and I don't care that it's obvious, but it's fun. I picked a Morton Joe's Gigahorse, which is the. Did you pick it too? Okay, so we
That's
got.
funny.
What did you pick?
I picked
I
two,
didn't-
but
No,
didn't-
okay, so we
I
got
didn't.
okay. So that's fine. You give your take, I'll give my take. And
yeah,
we'll see.
yeah,
We'll see.
totally.
We'll see if the Reds and the Blues meet in the middle for once. No, we're same politics, me and Charles. So talk about politics on a movie podcast, Michael. I picked a Morton Joe's Gigahorse, and for those of you who are like, "What's a Gigahorse?" I didn't know it was called a Gigahorse. So fuck whatever. That makes me a worser movie fan. So be it. But I realized that it's the 2 Coupe de Ville Cadillacs.
It is.
And like the front is cut and jacked with huge wide wheels, and then in the middle is the engine, and then behind the engine, so they're sitting in the engine, driving the engine. That's where Immortan Joe is.
Yeah.
And then behind that is the second Cadillac, and then cut in half with the smokestack coming out, going to
believe
the
they
last
built
part of the
this.
Cadillac.
Yeah, dude.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I picked this obviously for its traffic solving problems.
Yeah. Okay.
Just drive over you.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like I feel if you drove
Cameronero.
I feel if you drove that thing, you would just like take on a Morton Joe. Like you would just become a
Right.
dick.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So like, yeah, all right, I'm a dick now. All right, let's play. I'm gonna drive over shit.
So not a stretch.
No,
for you.
hey.
Ah.
Yeah, I see you. So that reason number one. Reason number two. I've always wanted a loud car. Remember my friend's older brother had a Mustang. We called it the Rustang. His name was Russ.
Good name.
Yeah. We're fucking,
Kids
what do
were
we
ahead of
call
your
it?
time.
what do you call it? Rustang? With it.
Did you? The next topic was, I'm pursuing a career in comedy.
Yeah, that's exactly what the cop said. Don't quit your day job, son. Step out of the Rustang. But it was super. He used to take it under the forks
Oh yeah.
and like rev the
Rev
engine.
that baby up.
right?
Yeah.
And, like, it
Just
would-
like echo across.
I just think of Grand Theft Auto 3 when you like pick up prostitutes
And you
you're
go
like,
under
"Yeah,
the bridge. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Not saying we didn't do a horror tour either. And
It's a good way to get some health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somehow, video game, right? Okay, just checking what world, real world or real
Well,
world.
I mean, technically, it works in both. I mean,
Yeah,
It's true.
Reality,
Some health.
relieve stress.
Hopefully, if you're doing it right.
Oh, okay. I remember what I was saying. It's the definition of too much.
Right.
Totally.
And the guy who built it, he was quoted saying, in a world where there's barely one of anything, to show you he had power, he's the man who's got 2 of everything.
Yeah.
So it's like a big fucking flex,
Beautiful quote.
right?
Beautiful.
It screams D-bag. Like, if I had fuck you money, I would buy one of these and like recreate
These are
my own
great.
chase scenes in Manitoba in the desert. Like, I go to the Sandylands and just like fucking drive around.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that's like, it's just a fucking like, fuck you, I have 2 Cadillacs, buddy. Ian, what was yours?
Mine is kind of boring. I'll be honest. I love, and it's because I'm so basic. I like.
Okay, like pumpkin spice.
I'm not. I like when it comes to like cars. I don't really like. I'm a point A to point B.
Yeah, no,
type
I am
guy.
too.
Like,
I drive a Kia. We drive Kia
yeah,
Rios.
yeah,
like,
I drive a Honda Civic Hybrid. Like I
you're
love.
conscious.
I'm
none of
conscious.
these are gonna. None of these are gonna
But
like
well, that's
remove
why.
your carbon footprint.
Which is why, but I like this one because it's so clean. It's so simple looking. But the Ford Falcon,
Yes.
coupe.
Great
The V8 Interceptor 90. It's the original car.
Yeah.
It's seen in Mad Max in
That's
the
right.
very beginning.
That's right.
Right before he gets jumped, it's like
That's right.
at the very, very, very beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And it's like the first shot with this car. It's the original, and it's basically just a regular car that's pure black, like a regular like Ford Falcon, like coupe with a little like fucking machine gun at the front.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's-
not decked. It's not
decked.
pimp my
No.
ride.
It's not. And
No.
it's just very basic.
Exhibit's not coming on to set being
No.
like, look at this man in the rims.
But there's something just like fucking clean and easy
It
about it.
is.
that
I'm
does-
looking at
it's
it right now.
It's
Oh, yeah.
so the opposite of like what your pick is because it's just like I'm just like,
Everything's the opposite of my pick.
because I just want to like fucking go and like get away and fucking look style and cool. I'm a
Yeah.
very minimalist person. This car screams minimalist. So yeah, I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of it.
Yeah.
No,
It was like a simple choice for me. It's funny. Like I'm like, yeah, no, everything's too fucking gaudy for like my taste.
but like, you
I
know,
wouldn't
it's-
survive in this world. I'm clearly.
It's also the way like when he uses the car in the
Oh
original
fuck! I
ones.
know,
Well,
right? Like that's
I
the
didn't
thing.
realize
Awesome.
this until
It's
right
awesome.
now, but the opening scene or the opening shot in the trailer, I should say, I don't know if it's the opening sequence in the film.
Yeah.
But where he steps on that thing that's crawling around on the
Yeah.
ground.
Yeah,
That's so that is in.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that this is where we show we're continuing on
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
other Mad Maxes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like because they're showing you his old car. So
Yes,
yes,
obviously
yes.
this is
Yeah.
That's the original. Yeah.
That's fucking cool.
And
Which
I think the idea that's why by Fury Road it's fucked because he's had that car
For so long.
since everything.
Yeah.
And then right in the opening of Fury Road they fuck it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
You're making me want to like rewatch all of them, but like I'm
Ugh.
kind of like I don't know if I can handle.
Other than
Mel Gibson.
Thunderdome,
Yeah.
other than Thunderdome, there were like Thunderdome. You got to watch at least once, but that
Yeah.
was one of those movies where they were
It's
like
got Tina.
Mad Max. The
I like
studio got
Thunderdome.
involved.
Yeah.
Thunderdome wasn't awful. It's just that like, and Tina Turner works, but then you realize it's one of those movies where the studio was like, "Who's hot right now?
Right.
Tina Turner.
Yeah,
Mad
yeah.
Max is our big franchise. Let's do it."
It's Superman 3.
because it's fucking.
Yeah.
Let's get those legs in
But
this film.
They
Yeah,
made
yeah.
a Mad Max game that is set in the whole universe of all the movies. It's its own original story, but it acknowledges all of them. And they have a really cool sequence where Max gets like knocked out and he wakes up in the Thunderdome and they do that whole sequence in it.
PS4, PS5.
This one came out for PS4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right after Frogger.
Yeah.
Yeah, right
Right.
after they finished Frogger.
And Frogger was the no kidding.
But funny, you guys are hilarious. You picked both. Those are both the cars I picked.
Really?
I literally picked the Giga Horse because when I saw it by title first.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What the fuck is that?"
Same here. I saw the
and
article
then when I
and was
saw
like,
it was Immortal Joe's, I was
Yeah.
like, "This is amazing."
Yeah.
fandom and
Oh,
popped
yeah.
the list, and I was like, oh my god, there's like 77 fucking
Right.
cars.
Yeah.
And then when I was looking up, and I didn't realize when
Yeah.
I was looking up, I'm like Ford Falcon. I'm like, I remember
Yeah,
those
yeah,
were
yeah.
cool '80s cars, or like I remember those
Exactly.
were cool. And then when I clicked on that one, it was Max's car, and I'm like,
Yeah.
well, how could you not want to drive
Exactly.
Max's car?
Exactly.
And what I love about Max's car is exactly what you were saying, but what it is it's totally Max.
Yeah.
Is that it doesn't look like much, but then it's a monster,
Yeah.
right?
totally.
Like
Oh,
Mad
it's-
Max is just a dude that you're like, okay, this is
Yeah.
just a guy, and like especially in the original, it's just a guy in a leather jacket with glasses. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
But then he's like a beast.
Yeah.
And that's his car in a nutshell.
He's Clint.
Right?
It's under the hood. It's all
Dirty
under the
Harry. He's
hood.
Clint
And-
Eastwood. He's like
Totally.
Yeah, he's all.
And
that.
it's what he does with it. It's the attitude. Like
Yeah.
when you see Max get out of it, you're like, holy fuck, that's a wicked car.
Yeah.
Hey,
And then
Oi,
Immortal
mate.
Joe is just like, oh, and the fact is too is that they built that. And not only did they build it to function, and it
I know.
does.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, it's amazing when they do those movies, but some of those guys must feel like shit, like as if it's just getting sold now.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you know what
yeah.
I mean? Like, I built this insane thing, and now it's just getting auctioned off. But that's better than them when they build a fucking set or they build a model
they
and
tear
then
it
they gotta
down.
blow it up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Like, you know what I
totally.
mean? Like, it's cool, but there's got to be that point of, like, imagine spending days building your Lego thing, and then as soon as you're done, someone just gets to go, boom,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
Like,
Yeah, there's a game show
that's
that's hosted by
Will Arnett,
Arnett.
Lego Masters.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I
Yeah.
forgot
It's
about that.
fucking awesome.
It's great. It's really good. He's the
Yeah.
perfect host for it, too.
Yeah.
It's
No,
so
they all
weird.
get to break shit at the end.
Like,
Neat.
one of the themes, one of the episodes was you got to build something that moves. So it's like, I
Are
don't
these
care what it
kids?
is, but it's no, they're like,
Adults.
they're adult team because the shit they build, you're like,
Is this on the stream?
No,
we
public
watch.
access.
Yeah, we watch it on CTV. Like we,
I
Public
can't,
game?
I can't afford.
you can
CTV,
the
I'm kidding.
CTV app
I know
is
it's free.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's on there, but that's where we watch
You
it.
just have
It's
to
good.
watch it week of.
And Will Arnett start? He'll go up to. He
And
goes
start
up to
pushing?
teams. He'll just be like, "Hey, I think they're doing the same thing you're doing, but better." And then they'll start like trying to look at each other and be like, "What?"
So
And
he's
they're
the
like,
he's the antagonizer.
Oh,
like
without
he's
a
like,
doubt.
it's funny because I love like it sounds exactly what I like, which is like competitive baking shows. You know?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
very much.
Dude, it's
Yeah, yeah.
totally, it's totally.
It's,
I love
there's
Cutthroat Kitchen.
3 reality TV show scripts.
Yeah.
yeah,
There's
yeah, yeah.
3
Yeah.
formats. There's act like it's reality, stir shit up, film it, edit the fuck out of it,
Yeah.
Right.
change people's language,
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then scare the world and
Right.
So Kardashians, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Then there's your impress me, I'm better than you,
Yeah.
you're lesser than me. We're gonna use your story to make you look way more important than you are while you're learning to do a thing.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
American Idol.
Yeah, yeah. Hell's Kitchen.
Hell's Kitchen, Master Chef.
totally.
okay?
The
Totally.
Canada's Worst Drivers.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
Totally.
Then there's your true just videotaping a thing
Yeah.
as far back as you can because you realize that as soon as you film a thing, you change a thing
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
because its motion's changed. It's
Right.
Its entropy has changed.
Right.
It's
Right.
Tenet. It's all these things. But like that's the really good one. That's
Yeah.
the Survivor.
It's the OG like game show
It's-
host.
it's- yeah,
right? It's
right.
just you know what you're watching and
Yeah.
everybody's there and we
Yeah.
get it. Embrace it.
But the
you know?
antagonizer, you can have different levels of it. You can antagonize a competition,
Right.
but you take from each 3 because we watch so much reality TV in this house.
Oh yeah.
But it's all like I want to watch people. It's alone.
Right. I just
Yeah.
watched Alone. Did I talk about this with you?
No,
Oh,
we
I got
talked
s-
about how we last time we saw each other. We talked about Alone.
Oh, because of Stack TV. I
'Cause of
think
Stack
I told,
TV,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I got
Yeah, yeah.
Rick and Morty, and I watched Alone. I watched Saved by the Bell. I watched all these
Nice.
Oh,
I
Stack
watched all-
TV is the shit.
I actually
Shit.
just canceled my account because I was like, I think I did it all. I think I got all I wanted out
Yeah,
of it,
yeah, yeah.
and so like I did Alone, and I did Rick and Morty, and I'm happy.
I got to get into Alone. My buddies have told me about it. It's like the
It's good.
ultimate Survivor.
It's very good. It's Survivor
show.
Man, but like there's like 10 people doing it.
Yeah,
you know?
but it's like
But
the
it's-
circumstances are insanity.
It's
Okay.
way
Yeah.
scarier in my opinion.
yeah, it sounds like it. My buddies talk about it, and I'm like, this is a show?
Well, it's kind of annoying,
Like-
even like the
Imagine, if you will, enter a beast, a moose, freshly killed on top of a mountain.
Oh my god.
3 people are dropped in.
Get out of here. There's
The animal is dead.
they're like
They have to survive.
Survive.
They have to survive for X amount of time.
Oh my god.
They have nothing at their disposal but what they brought, and they have to take the animal down by
what
making
season is this?
tools.
And like none of these people
Alone the beast.
and none of these people are like I used to love watching you just name dropped it.
Survivor Man.
Yeah, Survivor Man was great,
Yeah.
but he
Oh,
had
Les
like
Stroud?
skills,
He had
right?
skills,
Like
yeah.
he knew what he was doing.
Yeah,
These
he-
people don't have these skills,
Well, they do.
right? Like
They are survivor.
These are people who claim
to be
I
survivalists.
see.
that
I
they're
see.
survival.
Right.
Like they love
Right.
off grid. They
Right.
love.
so it's the
mountain
same way
living.
anybody could participate in Survivor. Like,
Yes.
Yes.
like there's no background check, but we're assuming that
Well,
these
no,
are
no,
things
no, no.
you do.
They do a boot camp of
Right.
basic things prior,
right.
and they do.
Because
a
they don't
boot
want anyone
camp-
to die.
Yeah, they also do a boot camp of how to frame a shot. Basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're given their own
Wow.
production gear,
Holy shit.
so you have to survive while you're doing a thing, and you have to film your interaction. And if you don't, then they pull you from the show because
Right, right,
you're
right.
not making a show.
You're not
Like,
doing anything.
You're
yeah.
making the show for them.
And
Yeah.
is it like do you win something at the end?
So so I've only watched the latest season, and that there was a prize. But I've heard the past seasons they initially weren't a prize or a small prize, but this latest season, that's again the only one I've watched.
Latest season was the biggest prize.
Yeah, it was like $100,000 or something.
Yeah.
And it was funny too because I'm gonna spoil the latest season if you don't
Whatever.
mind.
It's
oh
fine.
yeah,
Spoil
go
it.
for it.
But
Spoiler
like,
alert,
It was
everybody.
great. I loved it. Like I want to watch all the other ones. They just don't. They only give you the latest season on Stack TV, which is annoying.
Yeah.
I'll figure out a way.
Yeah. Technology.
Yeah.
Yeah, we downloaded a lot, and then when we got Stack TV, we realized we could watch a lot of current stuff.
Yeah, because they only have it's season 8.
Yeah.
Whatever. But anyway, so they're in grizzly bear country.
Whoa.
So everyone slowly drops out. There's like down to
Southern Alaska,
3.
Northern BC.
Yes. There's 3 people left. It's like winter time.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the woman I thought that was gonna win, they were like, you like at like day 45, they go to check on them just to make sure they're like doing okay, and
Yeah.
they were like, you've lost way too much weight. We're gonna have to pull you out.
Yeah, they pull you. if
And
you-
I'm like, the guy who won deserved to win still, but like they basically pulled like majority, like the last 2 people out because
they make
like,
the decision.
Well, because
It's-
there's liability issues. They can't
Exactly.
let people
but it's,
die.
It's also a doctor coming and being like, okay, you've
you haven't
entropied.
eaten. Yeah, exactly.
Your
Yeah.
muscles now gone.
yeah, like
Yeah.
you're falling apart,
Yes.
literally.
you
like,
can't
yeah.
stand up without us holding
Yeah.
you.
Right.
And
so-
it seems like, again, I've only seen this one season, but it seems like the biggest problem, the hardest thing is food.
Yeah.
They've all got everything else handled, like
anybody can
survival.
build a shelter if you
Exactly.
read and if you understand
fire,
basic
shelter.
Right.
shelter building.
And
yeah.
it sounds like as soon as you get a fire, you're from there. It's like, hey, you're good to go. You
Yeah.
need a fire,
It's
and then
just-
from there you go, kind
Yeah.
of thing.
But where you're dropped,
Yeah, it's in the middle of fucking nowhere.
It's cold. It's winter.
right?
Yeah.
And even if it's a hunting ground, it's like, what tools do you have to go murder something?
well, the one guy brought it. I think they all got a bow and arrow this round or
Even
something.
still,
so
that's
he killed a
hardcore.
deer, and this one guy, like, he was so smart too. He built a smokehouse and he smoked all the meat. He was
That's
just like
genius.
he was fucking smart. I was like,
Wow.
he
"Fuck, I
also
love this
he
guy."
also built a doorknob, and he also
did.
built like
He
a
did.
picture for his kids,
Yeah.
and he built toys. And I was like, okay, man,
That's wild.
He's clearly Shawshank.
Yeah.
He's
like he was
Tim Robbins.
he was getting busy living.
yeah.
That's wild, though, man. Like
But,
that is
like-
It would be funny if he
wild.
dug a hole out of
Yeah,
like.
but like
Yeah,
at one
yeah.
point he was making shit when he should have been building shit, and I
Yeah.
was like, quit the arts and crafts, dude.
Yeah,
You're
dude.
here to win 100. But here's the kicker: no end time.
Yeah, it just goes last man standing. Last.
Oh, so it goes
person.
until there's a one person.
Yeah,
so it
yeah.
doesn't matter. Like
Yeah.
it could take however long
Could take
it takes.
200 days.
That's
But
fucked.
You don't know ever
no, yeah.
how many people
Exactly.
are left.
Oh, you don't ever.
No.
It could be a week.
No, they're all, like,
you could be
separated.
one person
You don't-
left. It could be 30 days. Could be 7 people left. You
Holy
never know
Shit.
the endurance.
So you just got to keep going until the producers are like, you won.
Yeah.
You
Essentially.
won,
That's
or you're
literally
gonna
it.
pull
Yeah.
Wow.
But
It's crazy.
the Beast one, the one I was like, picture 16 by 9.
I'm excited to watch this one because
Okay.
I didn't know this was it.
So
This is
you
nuts.
That's
there was a
nuts.
moose and there was an alligator. Those were the 2 most memorable ones. And I shit you not, guys, the guys who got the alligator
Yeah.
put reeds together
yeah.
because they were in the bayou. They were like,
Yeah.
I don't know, fucking Florida, Mississippi,
Yeah.
inbred.
Like the swamp country or whatever.
Just
kind of
lost
thing?
it. Florida.
Swamp country.
Yeah. The swamp country. Right around there they were, and they were like, okay, you have to, and like the meat will spoil within like hours, right?
Right.
Because
Yeah.
heat and everything. So
Yeah.
they got to take the animal down. The guys who got the moose built stone tools. They broke out rock.
You're right.
They sharpened them.
Wow.
They took the hide off, and for a show that is like public access, like if you had basic cable, you'd get it, no extra
It's
charge.
like they show you.
Oh, you see them pull, like, you thought they smelled bad? On the outside. Star Wars?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
You
yeah,
see them disemboweled.
Holy
Yeah.
You
fuck.
see them like a tom-tom.
Because I was gonna say,
opened
like
up.
they have to gut it. They have to do everything, like everything.
They have to gut it.
so it's not even
because-
just killing
well,
it. It's like, what
so
do you do with
Moving
it, now?
Yeah.
you can't take the meat off
Right.
because what ends up happening is that within hours you have the bowels breaking. You have all this breakdown. You have all this decomp, right?
And it can't use any
and
of
it
that
gets
meat.
into the meat and it fucking spoils the meat.
Oh my
Right.
god.
And other
So-
animals also
Yeah.
are like gonna come anytime.
Of
Yeah.
course,
You know,
right? You
so-
got your scavengers that are like,
Yeah.
Hey, everybody! Who
Yeah.
likes
So
fresh
it's
kill.
nuts. Yeah.
The guys with the reeds, they take reeds from the jungle and they bind them together and they break through the scale of the alligator.
Get the fuck
Crazy.
out of here.
It's nuts, man. And so they're like what comes from these shows. Like if you win American Idol, great, you won $1 million in a record contract. It's the exposure and the access to people.
Yeah. Yeah.
These guys win. They get to prove
yeah.
that they are, and then they can charge rich yuppies who want to go and experience something
Right,
like
right,
this
right.
stupid amounts of money.
Right.
I would pay.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Just like Top Chef. Like
Yeah.
every one
Yeah,
of these
yeah.
competition-based
Yeah.
shows with a prize, the reward is always I was number one
Yeah.
on season blank of
Right.
of blank blank.
Right.
And then you'll get brought back. They'll be like, let's
They'll
bring
do
our
the
winner
All-Star.
from
Oh,
like
you want to do an
previous
All-Stars?
season. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure,
we have
cool.
to do an
Right?
All-Star.
So the more you win competition-based reality, everybody out there who's ever like, how do you make some money? Competition-based reality
Yeah.
is a great way to launch a career in your field.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned like a show that I love watching, and it's like one of the longest competition shows, The Challenge on MTV. I love it. There's this guy named
No idea. I was like,
Yeah, I'm lost.
it's funny enough, yeah. So what it is it's a competition show. None of them are like athletes or anything. They're just people that are like, I'm a competitor, but it's like ridiculous things. Like they're in a one of the challenges was they're strapped in a plane,
yeah.
no wings or anything like
Yeah.
that, and then it just goes underneath the water, and who is the last one to stay sitting in their seat wins that challenge. But these are all like nobodies and shit.
Right.
But the challenge is like
How deep are we talking? How deep is this fuselage?
oh, it's like, oh, dude, it's stupid. Like one,
Is it supervised or is it in the ocean?
oh no, it's in the ocean. Like and it goes.
Is there
so,
a dive team?
Oh
Is
yeah,
there a
like
safety
there's
team?
everybody all around and whatnot. But it's just straight up like they build these things.
So it's Fear Factor before the guy died.
It's literally yeah.
Like, hold
It's
your
it's
breath?
a mix
Is that what it
between
is? Sorry.
yeah. Like so, what they're doing is they're holding their breath and they have to solve like a thing to get out of their seat.
I see.
But you also want to be the last one.
Right.
So like some people start having panic attacks as it's going down and they're getting out. There's one guy who's just keeping chill, but like also
It's
trying to look
weird
at
that
every.
I've never heard of this.
It's
show.
yeah, and it's like it's been going for at least like 20. I think they're
It's
on
kinda like
season
Alone.
34 now.
So
Because
this is
Alone
the
is like
kind-
a show that like I didn't really hear.
Yeah,
of till,
Alone
like,
has
3
a
months
lot
But
ago.
this is like it's MTV, so it's got that MTV. Like there are some people
Right,
in there where you're like,
cheesiness.
they're the TNA.
Yeah,
Like you're
yeah.
not gonna do well, but you're
Right.
really
oh,
hot.
Is this Jersey
you know?
Shore shit?
It's like it's so what you were saying is there's a guy on it named Johnny Bananas, and he's one of the longest running competitors on
Johnny
it.
Bananas was
that
on
sounds
Survivor.
familiar.
He
Yeah,
was
yeah.
on Survivor, yeah. So he's from the
That's
challenge.
why I know this guy.
He's
yeah.
from the challenge, and he did exactly what you did. He won. The last challenge he won was 3 years ago. Hasn't been on the show since, but he's making money with like appearances
Right.
and endorsements and that is his whole career. He doesn't
Right.
even need to compete on it anymore. But he's the one that's won the most.
Right.
So that's all they do is they bring him as winner of the most challenges, blah blah blah, and he's literally made an enterprise on that. He has merch, fucking everything, and it's just like what you were saying is that
Yeah.
it's not even about the prize money. It's like what the career could lead to,
Like
if you do it right.
Interesting.
the chefs,
It's insane.
Yeah.
the chefs
It's
that
insane.
do Top Chef and go top 3.
Yes.
You're looking at the ability to be flown anywhere.
Yeah,
You're auditioning live to be a private chef for somebody
that's right.
because you're being judged by the best for your product by people
Yeah.
who know what you should be making at what level.
Right.
So anybody who's anybody, like a fucking new hotel owner somewhere in Macau,
Right.
they could see an episode of Top
Yeah.
Chef and be like, whatever you made, I know that you made it that way, and
Right.
that's not easy. Here you go. So the exposure, it's not about the fucking 25 grand on,
Yeah.
on
Right.
Chopped. It's
Yeah.
about like Chopped Champions.
Which should come with it.
Right.
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Like so then you should be able to travel to any kitchen you want. You should be able to work wherever you want as a chef.
I always tell Claudia, it's funny that I love MasterChef and like
Yeah.
Hell's Kitchen stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And to me, the people who really win those seasons are the ones that don't win, but when they're leaving, Gordon will be like, look, if you ever need a job or you want to go to
dude.
school
I
or
know.
whatever,
Yeah.
you get in contact with me. I look at Claudia, I'm like, that motherfucker just won. Because yes, he didn't win
Yeah,
the
yeah,
competition,
yeah,
but
yeah.
he's getting a job
Yeah,
to
yeah,
work
yeah.
with Gordon Ramsay.
Exactly.
Like, that's why you're
Dude.
fucking here,
true.
man.
Dude.
Like, right? Like, that's what I want to win. I want to be one of those guys that doesn't win, but then
Well,
gets the job.
there was a Reddit question going around the internet lately. Would you take? I heard it on the radio, but what would you do? Would you take a dinner with Jay-Z or $500,000?
Interesting.
You know,
Because it's
the
what that
idea-
dinner could lead to.
Exactly.
All right,
Right.
all right. Let's bring this in. Let's bring this in a bit. If you could have dinner with Steven Spielberg, or insert director of your choice here, or $500,000, what would it be?
$500,000.
You think really?
Yeah, easy. It's because I know I can.
You don't think you
expand.
can make $500,000 again,
At this point? I can
or
make.
find it?
I easily, but no, not easy. But it's just with $500,000 in where I'm at personally in
Yeah.
my career, I could probably figure out how to make something that could at least get some attention that could better my career in a different way. Don't get me wrong. I fucking would love to meet.
What
and
if
you could
one-
still get that sit
Okay,
down with Spielberg
hang on.
out of it.
Exactly.
Right?
I
Like,
want to put him
It's
on
a
the
long
on the,
game.
on the spikes here for a sec.
Yeah.
What if XYZ person, the next thing they tell you is how to make $1 million? What if that dinner, the knowledge to make more than
Unless they're gonna-
500,000?
unless they're going to employ me
Yeah.
to make that mill,
Yeah.
fuck off.
And
Okay, so
also,
there's-
like,
okay, fine. No,
Because it's
there's no wrong answer.
Because it's like
I'm
the
just-
Jordan Belfort
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah.
Like Jordan Belfort could spend his whole life telling you how to make a mill, but that's like, are you going to do it though?
Yeah,
Exactly. And also, I
okay,
hate
Jordan Belfort's
working.
just gonna
I
make me
know.
snort cocaine on something.
Yeah.
wrong.
Sell me this pen,
Yeah,
god damn
yeah.
it.
I was in a job interview once where I got asked that.
Really?
Someone asked me to sell them a pen.
It's ballsy as fuck.
I
'cause
had
it's like-
something similar. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something like that. Like I don't remember. Fuck, I wish I could remember exactly. It was so awkward. I remember being like, what? And
right?
like
'Cause
definitely I was
uh,
like, what do I do? In
I
this
wish I had the
thing?
confidence that he does in the movie where he's like, hey, sign this. I need a pen. Fuck, there you go.
Yeah,
like
fuck
the
you.
way he does that, right?
I
I'm
know,
like,
it's
I
so
fucking
well
wish
done.
I had that confidence.
Well, because
he
you
did
know
it,
there's
like,
an answer.
for sure, there
Like,
is.
yeah, yeah,
And that
when
is
that is the answer.
When
Yeah,
you
that
know,
is the
you're
answer.
totally right. When you know the answer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just do it. You say it. And he says it like common sense. Like he's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
sign this. I need a pen. Fuck, here you go. Give me $50. There you go. Fuck, right? Like, shit. And then at the end of the movie, everyone's
Cost
like,
versus demand.
it's my favorite is that guy who's like, it's a good pen.
It's
It
a-
writes
yeah,
well,
yeah.
and then he just moves on.
It writes well.
It writes well. It's a good pen. Like fuck, because he would. That's the answer I'd give. Like, it's the best pen in the world. Like,
I want to go and break a Joe Rogan podcast record tonight, but you have to be on set.
yes, I'm sorry. Yes,
you
that's
probably
right.
have to be somewhere on a set.
My dog's here.
Okay,
I'm
you
kidding.
Talk, we
Oh,
could
yeah, your
talk for
dog's there.
hours.
Well, we
I
gotta
know.
pull your dog away from Shauna because she's gone upstairs. I guarantee you, I guarantee you that she's made a bed for her
Sweet.
and she's cuddling with her. Like
Sweet.
Shauna, that she's
No, it's great.
Doctress Doolittle.
I love it.
Very last thing, I promise.
Yeah.
But I just want to say my favorite thing I'm watching right now, Nathan for You,
Oh, it's so good.
and I'm on season
It's-
3.
Oh, my
and it's
Nathan for you.
Nathan
it's
for
the
you.
best thing.
It's on
I've-
Crave.
Everyone's
Watch it.
been telling me to watch it for
Dude, it's
years.
incredible. It's
And
incredible.
it's literally I've not laughed out loud in my life. Every night I've been watching like 2 episodes, and then I'm like so hyped up on laughter by myself. When you laugh by yourself, it's so funny.
He got worldwide famous for doing the Starbucks.
Dumb Starbucks.
Dumb Starbucks. That was his.
I
I
don't
don't know if you heard that,
if you
but
remember
No.
this.
he rebranded a coffee shop to be
Dumb
Starbucks. So they were able to copy everything Starbucks does as long as dumb was in the title. It's not copyright.
because it's considered an art piece as
Yes,
opposed to it.
and that's how he marketed it. And he made the dumb so small that people just see Starbucks.
So people were coming in and be like, "Can I get a coffee?"
I heard about this.
and he's
guy.
like, "Do you want a dumb?"
It's part of the show.
Dude,
and
it's
then
incredible.
he doubled down because it's got so much news.
Yeah.
Unless he comes out with a piece of paper and he's like and does like a news announcement. He's like,
Yeah.
"We are going to open a second location."
Yeah.
Okay, I
Dude,
need to watch this.
So what he
It's-
does is he finds businesses that are not doing well, and he finds the most insane ways they can make money, but they're so crazy they can actually work.
and he's super dry and he never
Is this
breaks.
reality?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Yeah.
And he's an actual graduate from Ottawa Business School. Like
Yeah.
that's a real thing, and
He's,
that's
he's
what
a
he opens
comedian
up with.
too.
Yeah, he's a comedian, but he had this as a show. And
Okay, I
what's
need
funny?
to watch this.
It's honestly like I swear to God, like watch the
incredible.
first episode. Watch the gas station episode.
Oh my
is, like,
God,
one
where he
of-
makes them have to go to the mountain to redeem.
like he's like, here's like 50 cents a liter gas or something crazy like that, and then they come in and he's like, okay, to get this 50 cents a rebate, but you have to drop them rebate off this mountain, and it's like a 3-hour.
Like you have to drop it off in this specific box, but the box is at the top of this mountain, a 3-hour hike.
but like 2-hour drive, 3-hour hike,
Right.
And then like, but
for a
he,
50-cent
but,
rebate.
For like,
or
something
like, but in total, it's like people are like, $15 people will save or something.
Yeah.
So, but then a bunch of people actually were like, we're down. So he gets
they
a
keep
bus,
going.
and so they hike up this mountain, and he goes, okay, to find the box, you have to solve this riddle, and he has riddles after, and then he makes them camp there,
Yeah.
and he basically won't give them the money.
And he starts breaking, like he goes to the camera and he's like, I really thought
I really
that
thought
nobody
that,
would go
yeah,
this
I thought
far,
it'd be
but like,
higher.
and he's like making riddles on the spot there because he didn't think it'd go this far, and then it gets like kind of like
So he's
gets really
very-
emotional because you
Yeah.
start finding out these people are kind of like
Is
they're
he Sacha
Fuck.
Baron Cohen?
yeah, like he commits.
He commits. Yeah,
Like he never
He
breaks.
does. He does. But every once like you
He does.
for half a second, you
Yeah.
see him smile, and you go, "Fuck yeah."
He had one amazing. So he does have guests like H. John Benjamin, the voice of Archer, Bob's Burgers. They did a skit where
What are you talking about?
he's going to
That's good.
he goes to job interviews and he gets kids, like whatever the kids are telling him, whatever he has to say on the microphone. So
Right.
like the guy asks him a question, this
Oh,
kid's
yes.
like, I'm hungry, and then it just cuts to Nathan, and he's like, I'm hungry, and the interviewer's like, so we had one where Benjamin came, and he was doing that. And he's sitting in an interview, and he goes right
yes.
away. He's like,
I'm a child
my name's
molester.
Nathan, but you can call me the N-word. And Nathan sits down. He's like, my name's Nathan. My friends call me the N-word. And then the interviewer's like, I'm not going to do that. He's like, that's okay. And then, but he has to repeat everything he's saying. And then it gets to a point where he says something.
He
Benjamin
says child
says,
molester.
That's
He
what
said,
it
like,
is.
He says, just so you know, I'm a child molester.
Right. And then literally he's like, I
I'm-
can't say it.
I'm not going to
I'm
say
not gonna
that.
say
I'm
it.
not
And
gonna
he's
say that.
talking in his microphone, and then the interviewer starts noting something's off, and he's like, I can't say that. I'm not gonna say that.
You'll
and
love this
Benjamin's
show.
like, you have to. I'm telling you to say it. You have to say it. And he's like, I'm not going to.
You're going to love this show. I guarantee
it's
everyone
amazing.
should watch this show.
It's all on Crave. Like
It's 4 seasons of May. I'm so excited to go home and keep watching this.
He
to be
literally
honest.
like there's one where a nail salon is struggling.
Okay. I get. I just.
Like,
That's
dude,
the
they're
thing. I
all
keep
good.
talking
They're-
about every
dude,
single
they're-
episode.
And every episode's insane. Like
Yeah.
they're all good.
okay.
Yeah, it's
gonna
totally
check
worth
this
it.
out.
It's just called
Well,
Nathan for you.
Nathan for you
Yeah.
is definitely gonna get watched. I would shout out. Clickbait was great.
Interesting.
Yeah, I saw you post about
I
that. It
posted
is
about
worth
it,
a
yeah.
watch.
I
eh?
saw you post and I
Okay.
was like, oh man. Maybe
Because I saw
I-
Entourage in it. I'm like, where have you been?
We're
And then,
Entourage. I thought the
like-
same thing.
Yeah, right. I was like,
Harvard
wow,
Man,
Entourage hasn't
Oh,
been
Entourage.
something in a
it's
while.
he's so not important. Like
Okay,
he's
good.
important to the story. The story
Right.
revolves right around him.
Yeah.
But like his on-screen time
Yeah.
is very limited.
Okay.
Right.
And each episode is, well, the story is loving, caring father of 17 or whatever, like lots of kids.
Jesus Christ, like Nick Cannon.
His sister and him are super tight. He's acting weird. Next thing you know, he gets captured, and the
Right.
video goes on YouTube, and he's like, "If this video gets to 5 million
He's gonna
views,
get killed.
I
Yeah,
will be
yeah.
murdered. I kill. I rape women. I'm a horrible person. Nick, whatever. Right? Like
Right.
These like very like, like confession type
Yeah.
thing they're
Right.
doing.
Yeah.
And he's been beaten up. And then from that point in the first episode, you're chasing who's got Nick,
Okay.
where's Nick, who could have done this to Nick
Right.
through each person. So the sister,
Gotcha.
the wife, the son, some
But
other
we-
ones that I don't want to say because it'll ruin it.
But we don't actually know if this is true that he is a rapist and stuff.
You don't know at all.
Gotcha.
see.
And
Gotcha.
you know what? I'm pretty sure. Fact check it if you want. Filmed in Australia during the pandemic.
It was because actually the Miranda, that acting coach, she worked on this.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's
Oh, right,
from New
'cause
Zealand.
She did great work.
Yeah.
I don't know who wrote that screenplay off the top of my head. It is one of the best examples of good dialogue.
Oh.
Real, believable, exchangeable dialogue.
Nice.
Like, I kind of think that somebody convinced a screenwriter, like maybe a first-time fucking phenom,
Yeah.
to like hand over.
I'm kind of curious to watch this.
Like
tonight.
it grows on you. It's the perspective of the cop, like it, but the story itself is always going on.
Right.
Cool.
But one whole episode out of this continuous timeline is like, here's the sister's point of view going forward,
Right.
and then here's the cop's point of view from everything, right?
Gotcha.
Like, but you're getting
But it's all surrounding that same
it's
conflict.
spherical in that sense that it's surrounding that conflict.
So you're getting
yeah.
all perspectives instead of, say, one perspective kind of thing like that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool.
So watch.
I like the innovation of telling that story.
Yeah,
Like, I like
exactly.
Yeah,
that
it's a
new
whole
approach.
new way, and it. You know what? It got some
Mm.
great trending responses, so people like it, right? Like it's.
'Cause
It felt a little, because it comes up on my Netflix as like, please watch this. I
Yeah.
was like, it's probably one of those. Ugh.
You know what? I'm
Yeah.
starting to trust not the algorithm, starting to trust Netflix outside of what they normally do. Like
Right.
they had some names for this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And Betty Gabriel's in it. She was from Get Out.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Well, and
can't
it
remember.
also sounds like Netflix
The guy who
is-
played the cop was really great. He's Middle Eastern, and he's nobody. Like I think this is
I
one
like
of his
that.
first, and he was fucking awesome. Like
Mhm.
I was very like whenever he was on screen, I was like, okay, because he just played a really good.
Yeah.
He was a cop who wanted to get ahead,
Right.
and you could clearly see how arrogant he was.
Right.
right.
And how he was willing to step over anybody, and then his sergeant's like, I'm going to get you in line, and they fuck with him. They post his dating app profile pictures all over his desk after he breaks the chain of command, and
Huh.
like you actually go through
Yeah.
each character's who they casted for each character was fucking amazing.
Interesting.
Honestly, I've been blown away. Like Netflix had, they came out with a horror trilogy a
Fear
couple
Street?
months. Yeah,
It's great.
and
I
it's
watched all of them.
Fantastic.
I
They
have
did-
certain problems, but 2 is amazing.
yeah, two's so good.
But
yeah, I kind of
They
missed
did
it.
a great job with it. Like what I was impressed with, a bunch of nobodies.
Yeah.
Very impressed.
Yeah,
Very impressed.
I don't know if you know the backstory. It was actually that was supposed to be released in theaters.
It was,
It was supposed to be. They were going to release every month leading up to Halloween, type of thing.
Yeah,
Kind of have this,
yeah.
But yeah, because of
And-
pandemic, they just did it on Netflix, like like every 3 weeks.
I also kind of loved it because that was the first trilogy I've seen that did what Back to the Future did, where they would
Yeah,
tease the next one.
they did. Yes.
In such a cool way, where it
was a
was like
miniseries.
scene going into it,
Yeah.
total Back to the Future style. And then what I loved is the last one,
Yeah.
the after the credits scene is the trailer for the
For the
third, just like Back to
yes.
the Future.
Yes.
So I thought that was kind of cool because obviously they knew they had everything made already,
Yeah.
and it's totally makes sense they're going to do it in theaters, and they
Yeah.
kind of enjoyed it. Like, since we're going to do it for streaming, let's kind of play with that, because in theaters I would have loved that, because totally.
Well, that's the
Watching
Back
Back to the
Marvel end
Future-
credit trailers.
Yes.
Well, and the last one I saw do that was like Matrix. When Matrix ended,
Right.
where Bane is next to Neo, and then it says to be concluded, and then at the end it was the trailer for Revolutions. It was
Right.
like nobody was doing that yet, really.
Yeah,
like, right?
that-
Like Marvel wasn't around yet,
Yes.
right?
That's
So
Well,
it's kinda
especially
cool.
when it's like it's 3 months, 4 weeks apart.
Totally.
type thing. That creating hype within like.
And
the
it's smart.
distance
You're
of it.
already, this fan base is already there watching this.
Right.
That's who you want to advertise
Exactly.
to, right?
It's very true. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Netflix is starting to get some unknown talent, but they're good.
Agreed.
They're really good so far. I'm impressed.
They're starting to step outside of
And that's how it should be. Give everybody a chance.
being the
right?
factory of movie making.
Like Nicole Kidman's starting to do all this TV stuff. Good for her and everything.
Yep.
But it's like, man, Nicole, like, how many actors were like, this is their only means? Or like, they don't get big movie roles.
Yeah.
They're only getting TV.
Nicole.
Cool, give
Nicole.
everybody some. Give everybody.
She's
a
got
chance.
an Emmy. Yeah, I was like.
It's just sometimes when I
Get
see
out of the lane,
certain-
Nicole.
When they say limited series and they announce the cast first, I'm like, oh, so that's when I'm
Yeah,
supposed
yeah,
to watch it.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have to get somebody off to set for tomorrow morning, and he told
I'm the
me.
one that's keeping us late.
Yeah, that's the hilarity of it all. That's
That's
what
me
I
in a
love.
nutshell.
Yeah, I gotta be on set early in the morning. Okay, dude, I'll totally get you out
Yeah,
on time. And I was
okay.
like, oh,
Let's keep
who's
going. Let's
who's
keep
the
going.
anchor here, guys?
I'm so sorry.
Ian wants to get back to Diamond, who I'm sure has been captured by Shauna. So have fun prying your dog away from my partner. Ladies and gentlemen, if this is your first time listening to the show, the simple thing that we ask is if you enjoyed it, subscribe to it, because this is it. This is what we do. We debate, we interview people. Whatever episode you've landed on right now, which is obviously just a normal real talk conversation that we like to have here, real being REEL. Go check our other shit. Interviews, dumb debates. Charles has been on them. Ian's been on them. We've all been on them. We've all been on them at some point or another. So this is one great way to get to know us, but we'd love it if you just subscribed, because that is unfortunately the name of the game. We all know that. Hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure you follow up with us. We'll be here next week and every week after that. If you're so inclined after that to continue your love and support of the show, you can do it in 2 ways. Check the show notes. You can see a donation tab. You can give us money. You can give us pocket change. Pocket change is cool, right?
Yeah, it's cool.
Totally.
Yeah.
And if you
That's
want to
a-
buy a skateboard, buy a skateboard.
Yeah, that's the other way to do it too. They come. Nobody's bought one yet, and I don't care. Like it's funny because the first person who has no fucking idea what's coming at
Oh
them.
yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
like it's gonna be the whole show will stop, and we will just talk about that person's
Yeah.
movie taste.
They're gonna
that
have
day.
their own episode
Their
dedicated
whole
to
episode.
them.
So if you buy a skateboard,
Yeah.
I don't care. You just need to email us proof of purchase, right?
Yeah.
And we'll like that skateboard has got so much drama tied to it.
Oh my God. We'll all sign it. We'll,
Yeah.
at
And
this
like
point-
we'll run it through the eye of Ian, and he'll give us like how to do it in like a dramatic,
yeah.
create
That's
some
right.
conflict, right?
That's right.
You know,
Yeah.
it'll get the treatment, and but you can buy a skateboard, or you can donate pocket change, all by doing that in the show notes. No pressure. Like we all work, we're all in something, or whatever. I don't know. I hate pandering.
I
It's
know.
fucking horrible at it.
I know.
Just go subscribe, guys. That's the whole point of this. Anyways, it's been a pleasure. You can follow us online at Real Debaters. Email the show, therealdebaters@gmail.com. And realdebaters.ca is the website. Easiest place to subscribe if you're not already in your podcast player. I have been Michael Petrow.
I'm Ian Bawa.
And I'm Charles Fernandes.
And we go bye-bye now. Charles is going to sleep.
Bye-bye.
Ian's going to rescue Diamond. And I'm going to tell you to watch all the fucking movies.
That's right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.